If you go up to the loft today, you're sure a big surprise. If you go up to the loft today, you'll never believe your eyes. 'Cause every train there ever was has gathered there together because today's the day that Jenny hosts the Monday Club. Yay!
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Monday Club. It's really great to see you. I hope I find you well. And today, well, it has been a very, very busy week in terms of news. And we're going to be working our way through all of that news. But first up, let's see, who have we got in the stream? Lots and lots of people. Hello, Richard Bazina, Roof Railways, Daniels OO Model Railways, Ruben Ashwell, Patrick Ling, Mark Holt, Southern Train Girl, Simon Train's Model Railway Showcase, Map the Dragon Railways, Martin Hare's Railway Fan, Flymo Chairman 1, Leslie Gilpin, Josh's Train Room, Skipsy Trains, Ham Shackleton, Wham Gok, Pete Clark, Mark Holt, Ron B, Arthur Humphreys, Chris Gale 1959, Clive Cobold, Golden Hanning, Peter Reed, Andrew Boone, Roger Wolstenholme, Bangor Junction, Carl Braun, Richard Swiderski, Bagnall Dave, Tom McKee, Ben Davis, Ham Shackleton, Peter Leyland, Stephen Dakin, The Growler, Blackwood Engage Layout, Tony Wright, Railway Fan, and lots of other people. Gosh, I'm just having a quick look back through there.
While you're having a look through, can I just remind everyone, because it has come up in the chat already, people saying 2 hours. Tonight, it's a special episode. 3 hours.
Oh yeah, we did say last week, because of course, if you remember last week, I came onto the Monday Club straight off the back of a full day of really exhaustive filming. I then went on and did another day's filming for a TV series the day after, and then back to work on Wednesday, utterly exhausted. And we did say at the time, because a week seems such a far way away, and we said we would add the hour that we missed last week onto the end of this week. So 3 hours apparently is what we're doing, but we have got lots and lots of news. Right, first up, of course, you may have seen, it's been coming up on Twitter and all over Facebook, that you're looking weird there. What's wrong?
The camera's crashed.
Has it?
The main camera's crashed.
You sure?
Yes. I just saw a train go past, but it wasn't on the screen.
Okay, well,
it's back now.
They're moving. Right, you're derailing my train of thought. Anyway, meanwhile,
Choo-choo.
back at the ranch, Rails of Sheffield, the fire next door. Now, I have spoken to both Oliver Davies and John Barber. I spoke to them on Sunday just to see that everything was all right. And what they reported was there was very, very minor damage to the second-hand Emporium part of Rails, which is the bit of the building that's at that end, as a minor bit of water damage was what they said. And also the fire brigade had to wrench open the shutter and break a door to get in, just to check and make sure there was nobody in there. And I suppose as well, it's always prudent to make sure that the fire hasn't jumped the firewall into the next building along. The fire started in the takeaway, according to the news articles that I've seen. The takeaway is 2 doors down, so there's like a windows place in between the takeaway and Rails. So it appears that it started in there, and video footage that I've seen floating around on social media and various news outlets sites actually does show some quite intensive flames leaping into the air. It appears to be towards the back of the building. The photographs from the fire brigade service showing the front of the buildings, actually, it does show that fire has breached the roof, but not quite as epically as some of the video that I've seen. Sadly, the resident of the flats that were above the takeaway, the double glazing place, they had to be airlifted to hospital. Not got any further word on that. But nobody who works at Rails has been harmed in any way. And like I said, very minor damage. I think there's some smoke's got through, and very slight water damage where when they've been hosing things down, water's just sort of seeped through. But nothing major. So it's going to be business as usual at Rails. I have seen today that they've posted up some posts on social media, not about the fire, but they've got a deal on at the moment with the Hellion O-gauge moguls, so they are back and working. I don't know whether any of this was related to, they did have a power cut, I think it was on Friday, and I know from when there was a big fire in Durham, that several hours actually before that fire, and I'm not saying that this is the cause, but several hours before that fire, people were experiencing brownouts, and they believe in that particular case that it was an electrical fault, but it may well have just been something as simple as power cut comes along, somebody leaves something switched on, goes home, and then when the power comes back on, that then fires up and overheats or whatever. Just speculate.
Or even worse than that, when the power comes back on, a sudden spike and something shorts.
No, the timing suggests that it's something's turned back on and spent a lot of time getting hot, if that is indeed the case. So, rails is safe, don't worry about that. I know some of the pictures have looked very dramatic, but everything is okay. We've got Iron Horse Heathen, great to see you there. Pete Clark, Crossways Point Junction, Bernie, Gordon Hanning. Garthian is in as well, saying Garthian has a built-in TARDIS detector. He does actually. Has he been spotting something?
Everyone's already spotted the TARDIS and the turtle van.
All right. Yes, the pizza dudes have arrived.
Right. I'm going to go and get you a special order now, Jan.
Oh, thank you very much. John Nelson, a big hello to you from NC.
He's done it. He's seen it again.
Has it already? NC, is that New York?
North Carolina?
North Carolina, yes.
NC would not be New York, Jen.
I'm just
How tired are you?
Hello, Johnny Rotten, Mattavel, B2000, RO Toys channel. Says, I've been searching for an Aristocraft Pacific last week on eBay and Happens. I've even gone on Garden Rail with specialists. I'm not giving up. Ooh. Wiven Model Railway, Combat Bunny, great to see you there as well. Yeah, of course. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page as well. Charlie McGowan from Toronto, Keith Edwards. We've got a Houston Whap, spelled W-H-A-P. Garthian doesn't waste any time. He has the eyes of a hawk. He blooming does as well. So Hayden Warrope says, I spotted the TARDIS in the truck yard. Yeah, we're going back a bit here. Southern Train Girl, hi to you. March West Junction, TMD. We have got loads and loads of people in. It's a really good turnout, actually. 357 people already. Don't forget to tickle that like button. Do consider sharing the stream as well. Let other people know about this through social media, Twitter, Reddit, all those sort of things. But also, if you haven't already done so, then do also consider subscribing to the channel. We've also, I just need to check on something because I need to thank somebody from after last week. No, that's the wrong one. Let me just...
There you go.
Thank you very much. A big thank you to Adam Copland, who sent £25 after the stream ended last week.
Oh my goodness.
On the paypal.me. So an absolutely... Are you all right there? Your trousers just fell down.
Apparently I've lost a bit of weight.
Oh, that's good. I've found it. So a big thank you to Adam Copland as well. That is incredibly generous of you.
And a big thank you to you too, Jen, for pointing out live that my trousers fell down.
Don't mention it anytime.
You did.
Hello to Alex Faxton, Alex Pomeroy, messing about with models. Roof Railway says 350 people, but only 25 likes. Come on, people. Click the like button because it does make me happy. It makes me laugh. Right, the rest of the news. Okay, well, we've had the Bachmann next quarter range announced, and I'm not gonna go into the price thing. I know that prices are a bit eye-watering. I think, for example, the 5MT, it's either the 5MT or 4MT. Now, this is a model that somewhere up there, I've got one from an earlier release, DCC ready. Excuse me, 8-pin socket in the locomotive, runs absolutely fine. Lovely model. I paid £30 second hand in a box for that. I probably got an incredibly good bargain, but even so, these are things which, when they first came out, probably no more than £50 or £60. We're now seeing them at an RRP of £210. and it is quite eye-watering. We've also got the LMS porthole stock. Really quite welcome to see them in the BR Blue Grey. So the twilight years of steam, and just up to probably about 1970, so very early post-steam period, because there was a shortage of Mark II brake second opens, I think it was, so that the XLMS brakes were kind of given a quick tart up, got a coat of paint so that they matched the rest of the stock. So very unusual livery for those, but at an RRP of £75 a coach, it's a bit of an eye-water.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much,
Oh
Ian
my
White.
word. Big thank you to Ian White, who's incredibly generously given £5 through the super chat. Thank you ever so much. That is really, really great of you. Yeah, Russell Benton says, Bachmann porthole coach, £79, having a laugh. I know what you mean. I mean, you can find it. I think it's about 60 something pounds, 67 maybe off the top of my head. Available to pre-order from retailers, but even so, that is a lot of money for a coach. And I do wonder, are we starting to reach the point?
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, George.
George Botterini has incredibly generously donated
Everyone's been so nice
$10. He said towards a beverage of choice. I will drink to that, George. Thank you ever so much.
Red Monster, eh? Other beverages are available.
I am struggling. I'm still quite fatigued, but thank you ever so much for that. Garthian says, does anyone in the chat know how to redo the sound file on a sound chip? The one I sent Jenny for the Garrett has reset to default.
I'm so
You're
sorry.
right with that.
I went down the wrong tube.
I think it's a lock sound. Yeah, I believe it is an ESU lock sound version, either 4 or 5. I believe that you need a programmer for reblowing it. You can get them. Oh, you are redlining the sound.
I am so sorry, guys. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I am so sorry.
What was I going to say? Meanwhile, back at the rest. Yes, so it does appear to have set itself to a default. It's quite strange. It has a very basic, almost like a diesel engine sound on F1, and like a very, very feeble horn on F2. The sound does not change when you start the locomotive in motion, and it suggests to me that it is a default generic sound simply there to be able to verify that the decoder actually works, rather than actually being a sound that you use. I believe you get like a thing for like flashing the ROM inside the decoder, and it's just simply a case of I'll have to find somebody who's got access to one of those to upload the appropriate sound. So incredibly generous of Garthian to send me that sound chip, and it is fitted into the Garrett. Works absolutely fine, but I just need to sort out the sound in there.
Wolfie Wolf says, "Oi, Game Hammer, this is a live stream, not a dying stream."
Brian Harper says, Hattons have the Hornby Rocket at £300. Is that a second-hand one? That does seem very expensive.
300 squidly diddlies? My goodness, that is excessive.
Madden Steam Railways, hi to you. The hand that grabbed the TARDIS must have been the hand of God. Well, I wouldn't quite call it that. Ian White says it's cheaper to buy O-Gauge rather than some OO gauge now. Wish I had the space for O-Gauge. O-Gauge is great. I have it in the garden. Something just happened on the screen. If you just change the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be it then. But yeah, going back to the prices on the Bachmann stuff, there are a few items that caught my eye, but I personally feel like they've become too expensive. And if they're too expensive for me, then I think a lot of other people are going to struggle.
Yeah, they need to roll those prices back, man.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's a business model. If they do sell to somebody, then, you know...
They're market skimming to a certain extent.
Yeah. I did talk with Tim at Arcadia Models. Big up Arcadia and everybody at the Arcadia posse. And he said people are still ordering a lot of the stuff. And he says as long as they order it, then he will get it in and stock it. But he agreed that it's kind of eye-watering what some of the prices are getting up to. Meanwhile, on the other end of the scale, Accurascale announced their first Steam Outline model last week.
Oh, here's the news, is it?
Yeah, this is more of the news. So they announced they were doing a manor, which they said to me actually that this was something that they've had in development for a while. They haven't just decided, I know, today we shall announce a manor. And to prove that, they showed the engineering prototype of this, which is basically like a test shot, an assembly from the mould. So it's the model basically. And they've been working on this for over 18 months. So they started work before Dapol announced theirs. And everybody thought, oh, this is a bit of an upset. It's got a great spec, great price. And the fact that Accurascale can bring out these models at such a great price does bring into question the pricing strategy that Bachmann are using. But we're not really going to go and delve into that aspect. Fast forward on to, well, actually, a couple of days later, Dapol put out a notice saying, stay tuned for Monday for announcement on their manor. And everybody thought, because we hadn't seen EPs, I don't think we'd even particularly seen CADs or anything. So we thought maybe it's a project that they were going to announce that we've decided to step down. And I think a lot of people, including quite possibly Accurascale, thought that, we haven't seen an EP. Maybe, if they haven't cut tooling, then maybe they'll just sort of bow out from that. Dapol came back today a little bit late. I was expecting it at midday. It came at about 3:30, 3:45, something like that. They announced not only were they continuing with the manor, but they showed a fully functioning EP, and it's going to be getting to market about the same time that Accurascale are looking to bring theirs to the market. So we've got a head-to-head on the manor class. I think it's the 43XX, and both
You're gonna have
models.
to mind your manners.
Yeah, so I'm sure. I think Accurascale actually used that very joke on their post. But they're both an incredible spec from manufacturers with a good track record, albeit that we haven't yet seen an actual in the shops to buy model of a locomotive from Accurascale, but we've seen all the rolling stock, great line of rolling stock. I have not seen a single bad item from them, and so I think we're going to have two really, really interesting, really, really great models. And somebody's just let me just.
Goodness.
It hasn't come up on my screen just yet. Richard Brighton has very, very generously donated £20. Oh, you didn't have to, but thank you ever so much on the super chat. Says, if I pay you £20 to blatantly advertise the new Rails of Sheffield CDU, will you mention it? Yes, I will. And not only that, actually.
Do I have to now go into the setup and click for paid sponsorship?
Thought you already had. But
Well, no, because
yes.
Almas Media doesn't pay anything for the sponsorship tonight.
But thank you ever so much for that. That is incredibly generous. But yes, the all-new CDU, that's the capacitor discharge unit, and this is for changing things like points. We've got one actually up here on Weir Yard, not one of the Rails ones, but don't forget that, I haven't mentioned it yet. Actually, Rails of Sheffield are very kindly sending over one of these capacitor discharge units that have been designed for them by DCC Concepts. So I will actually be reviewing one of these products. Really looking forward to it. They're also sending over some of the Rails Connect decoders, which are made for them by DCC Concepts. So there's going to be a full review video on all of those. So really looking forward to that. But thank you ever so much for that incredibly generous £20.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is generous. Now, following on from that, Mark Holt has a very interesting question. What does the CDU do? Because he saw it but didn't know what it was.
Right, CDU. CDU stands for Capacitor Discharge Unit. When you change solenoid points, if you can connect them straight to the 16-volt AC line, and they buzz, and they will change singly. You can't slave several together. So say if you had a crossover, you'd have to change each one separately. There is a risk if you don't use a CDU of burning out the motors. If, for example, it makes contact for a longer period of time, that coil that is the solenoid that is changing the points can overheat and burn out. So to get around all this, what we actually do is you get a capacitor discharge unit. It's just a board with lots of capacitors on. And what it's doing is it takes that 16 volts and it's effectively storing it in electrolytic capacitors, and then it's able to pass all that power as one big boomf, and that will fire your solenoid motors very, very powerfully. But because it's like a sudden pulse and there's no risk of that power keeping going, you won't burn out your solenoids. It also means that you can run multiple points at the same time. So for example, if you had a crossover and you want both of those points to change at the same time, then the capacitor discharge unit allows you to do that. And actually some of the capacitor discharge units can be so powerful that they can change 4, 6 or even 8 points at the same time. Although I must admit, the most that I have ever needed to change at exactly the same time is 4. So when the Rails Connect CDU, made for them by DCC Concepts, arrives for review at Weir Yard, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be swapping out my existing, actually it's about 15-year-old CDU. Still works just fine, but I want to put that Rails Connect CDU through its paces. So one of the things that it will be asked upon to do is to change that scissor crossing where it's firing 4 solenoids at the same time, to give me an idea of how well it performs to other brands on the market. Oh, excuse me, other brands on the market. Right, anyway, going back to the Manor. Now, that new EP that we saw from Dapol, again, it looks great. It's got a lot of features. It's a really great price as well, and it is quite interesting. We're effectively going to have 2 Manors on the market, and I'll tell you now from experience, I think they are both going to be a great model. Now, I'm not going to trash talk one, other, or both. I don't think it warrants that. I'd like to see that the market will support both, because I think both are going to be really exceptional models, and hopefully we'll be able to review both of them in the future when they do appear on the market here on the channel, and I'll put them through their paces. Hopefully next week as well. I've been in contact with Frenberg at Accurascale and also Neil at Dapol, and we're going to be just having a chat with both of them about their respective Manors. Not going to be putting people head to head. We don't do the Paxo gotcha rubbish here. But what I want to do is just talk to both of them, let them talk a bit about the features in their Manors, and talk a little bit about the model, its development, and just to get a sense of what we can expect when these come through in the autumn. So hopefully we'll get all that set up for next week's Monday Club. So don't say I don't get you the all the goodies. B Mozza, hi to you, says CDU plus without is like a slap with it's a punch. Yeah, it's the difference between going and going whoosh, basically. Messing about with models, hi to you. You're saying, can you retrofit a CDU? Yes, you can. Effectively, where you take the power from your transformer, usually 16 volts AC, feed that 16 volts into the CDU, and then the wire which did go into your transformer, put that to the output of your CDU, and it will work perfectly. They are so easy to retrofit to a layout. Honestly, they really are the easiest thing in the world to fit. Right.
Cameron S says, "Oh, silly me! I thought you were showing off the new Dapol release. Did you say you were showing off Aaron?"
No. No.
We can't really show off something that's only at the engineering prototype stage.
Yeah. Essentially, on the Dapol Facebook group, also on the Accurascale Facebook group, each of those companies has shown up their respective EPs and a bit of information on them. So there are pictures out there, but I haven't physically seen or handled these. In fact, I only learned about the existence of the Dapol one today, basically when it was made public. So I'm not privy to insider information. So it did come as quite a surprise, but I did know there was going to be an announcement, but I didn't know what that announcement was going to be. Jam Send says, can you ask Zoe to sing? Oh, no, I don't think we should have that. If we go up to the loft, come on, give him one blast.
Jen likes big trains and she cannot lie. if a locomotive she does spy, she picks up her pace and I've forgotten the words. Now, this is what happens when you put me on the spot. I can't. Yeah. If you go up to the loft today, you're in for a big surprise. If you go up to the loft today, you'll never believe your eyes. For every train that ever there was is gathered there today, because today's the day that Jenny does the Monday Club.
Monday Club for everyone. Oh, we didn't have any more words. And what you can deduce from that is that neither of us can actually sing very well.
Yep.
Alan Bevan asks, what rolling stock is running on the layout at the moment? Right, well, funnily enough, we have got my favourite locomotive of all time in my collection, which is the Bachmann H1 in the London Brighton South Coast Railway livery. You'll just see it coming around over there. And that is pulling 3 Bachmann South Eastern Chatham Railway liveried bird cages. And behind that, the all-new Hornby 4-wheelers. I've got 4 different London Brighton and South Coast Railway ones, and right on the very end actually is a single full brake in London and North Western Railway livery. Now I'm just going to change camera angles. I apologise for the flicker on this, but you're just about to see them go around. And honestly, look out for the last vehicle in this train. The London and North Western Railway livery is truly exquisite. It really did blow me away. At the moment, there it is. The only ones that appear to be in the shops are the full brakes for reasons that... oh, do you want me to...
I just realised you couldn't see it. That would explain why no one spotted the TARDIS for a while.
Yes, but yeah, the London and North Western Railway livery, as far as I'm aware, only the full brakes are actually in the shop. I'm not quite sure why. I'm sure the others will follow quite quickly. But that livery is exquisite, I have to say. If you haven't actually got that, that is one to definitely consider.
Shouldn't that one on the bridge be going round? It
Nope.
seems to be sat there.
No, it is supposed to be just sat there.
Oh, okay.
Right, what else have we got going around? Now, you'll see hoving into view, we've still got the 9F, which is a Bachmann 9F, pulling a train of 4 Mark 1 coaches in the very, very attractive chocolate and cream livery of the Western region. And I think that was running last week. Then overhauling that, you'll just see it now. That is a Dapol mogul pulling 3 Hornby Collets in Great Western shirt button livery. And then the final train going round, I have got a Class 15, which is a Hellion model. That's going out as Wednesday's video, the full review on that. What?
When you said I have got, I just thought a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Okay. Right. Oh, do you want to fish that first? It's making my head spin. I'll have a bit more.
Is this your chance to tell everyone what you now say if I drink from the can that you...
Just have a drink. Backwash. Yeah, Marco Luciano, good evening to you. Linz said, where did the TARDIS go? It's currently in Zoe's hand, actually. Messing about with models. I've got some London and South Western Railway 4-wheelers on pre-order, but that LNWR livery looks lush, yes. And actually, I've just bought, you'll have seen the picture turn up on the Facebook group, I bought the London South Western Railway livery T9 Greyhound, the Hornby one. It was announced as part of the 2020 centenary range. I know that we've actually had that model in LSWR green before, but there are 2 different shades of LSWR green. I think there's Uri green and a pea green, and this one has come in the pea green, which actually matches the Oxford Rail Adams radial that came out in that livery, and I think Dapol did a B4 dock tank in the same shade of green. It really does look something special. But I will probably get a full rake of the London and South Western Railway coaches when they come out, because they look really nice as well. But yeah, London and North Western Railway, and just remember that we do have a suitable locomotive on its way in the form of Hardwick from the National Railway Museum. And there is another LNWR version of the improved Precedent coming from Rails of Sheffield as well. And they're going to be coming, I think it's Q2 this year, so do keep an eye on those. Looking forward to them coming out, actually.
Hive Kent has an interesting tip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just scrolled off the screen because everyone's chatting. Hive Kent says, Jenny, as you, like me, prefer not to have the sound switched on your locos, I've set all of mine to very low sound, then you only get the effect as they drive past.
That is a good idea. I mean, on the Monday Club, we don't tend to have them on anyway because it does drown out a lot of the other sounds of us, what we're saying.
Yeah.
But I have to say, there's a time and a place for sound. And I do occasionally run stuff with sound. You will attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know where you're coming from, actually. But then somebody else has said, it's moved off the top now. But somebody did say that they really did like the Dapol mogul. I have to say, yes, it did test quite highly when we did the review. That is actually the one that I was sent for review. And as your comments moved off at the screen, unfortunately for me, so I can't say who it was. But yes, fitting the decoder in the Dapol locomotives is ridiculously easy. It's one really good area where Dapol have got an incredibly good design. Full 10 out of 10 for DCC fitting and innovation. It does take a Next 18 decoder. They seem to be growing in popular. They did seem to turn up from nowhere. Although they're a little bit trickier to find. Trainomatic, the channel sponsor, do make a really good Next 18 decoder. And hopefully in time we'll also get some Next 18 decoders coming through from other manufacturers like DCC Concepts, Rails Connect, and so forth as well. Because there's a lot more locomotives taking that form factor of decoder. I'm thinking of all the new Dapol models, in 00 do seem to now take them. But also the Bachmann Baldwins in 009 take the Next 18 decoder. And there was another one. The London and North Western Railway Web Coal Tank is another one that takes Next 18. And I believe the whole Thomas the Tank Engine range that's being released in the UK from Bachmann all take the Next 18 decoder. Right, well, we've done the news on the manners.
We've got a question just before you go on. Mm-hmm. Leslie Gilpin says, are any of the 6-wheel carriages that are coming out in GWR Maroon?
That's a good question. Not from Hornby. The Hornby ones are kind of the chocolate and cream. There are 2 versions from Hornby, but the second version with the shirt button logo on, I have only seen those offered as part of a train pack with the shirt button logo livery Terrier as part of that pack. In terms of the GWR Maroon, I think you're going to have a good look through what Hattons are offering with the Project Genesis range. But off the top of my head, I couldn't actually tell you. There's a little niggly voice in the back of my head suggesting that Hattons may have announced that livery, but don't quote me on that. Alright, don't forget to tickle that like button, people. We've got 453 people in the chat. It's great to see you all. I always feel absolutely humbled that you guys all turn out for the Monday Club of an evening.
Here's a question. Here's a statement that you will definitely associate with. This year, says Witham Model Railway, is going to be very expensive. With all my likes from the Hornby new range, especially as I'm still waiting for last year's.
Yes, and I've just had a very expensive February, all spent within a few days. As you've probably seen, actually, it did extremely well, and I got told off by a few people whose secret stash of new old stock was coming from Hereford Model Centre. I did a video where I showed off some of the things that I was finding on their website, and actually we've managed to sell out most of Hereford Model Centre's new old stock. They've probably had a really bumper year, so if somebody's watching from Hereford Model Centre, I thoroughly enjoyed browsing your website and all your stuff there. Unfortunately, I seem to have sold it all for you. But no, that's what it's all about. So hopefully they've had a bumper month, which will help them out. And they didn't know that I was doing that video. I really did do it as a secret shopper enterprise, and it was only very late on, after I bought all the stuff, that I said, look, I'm going to be doing a video. Can I use some of your pictures on your website and link to your website? They said, yeah, it's fine, by all means. And then that video just went wild. It's had well over 7,000 views and has been responsible for selling out most of their new old stock. But I bought the Class 15 that's going around. It's the best price I could find for a brand new Hellion Class 15. They are still available from places like Rails. They've got, I think it's 3 different Class 15s available. Not the one that I bought, but 3 of the others as well.
Somerset Andy says, I will leave this one. I knew I wasn't welcome anywhere by everyone.
What?
What's been, guys, have I missed something in the chat? What's been going on?
Where's that?
Right near the bottom. Guys, everyone's welcome here. What's happened? I haven't seen anything that would have suggested that.
I'm just looking back.
Yeah, I don't see what's going on. I don't know.
If there's been somebody who's been causing you aggro, then do let us know and we can do something about that. Somerset Andy been a great supporter of the channel, and not sure what's gone on there.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I've just had a look. I look back. I don't see anything. So I really don't know what's going on there. Maddenstein Rower says, if that's the TARDIS, where's Doctor Who? And who the heck is the light bulb that wants pressing? Clive Goebel says, I'm waiting for the Hellion Class 860 electric locomotive to come out, Jenny. Right, let me just double check something. That's fine. I'm just checking I didn't have any sent me any emails. I find it bizarre. I don't know what's gone on there.
Yeah, that's
Brockwell Lane says, yep, I ordered 2 Bachmann Southern Railway 5-plank wagons from Hereford thanks to your video. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be trying to do that again, actually. I've got to find another model shop that's got stock at new old prices. My go-to place used to be the Holton Model Centre. Sadly, it's now closed down. But I'm going to have a look around and see if I can find somewhere else that I can wang in that way. But yeah, and somebody did ask, what's my favourite locomotive, steam and diesel? Now, my favourite steam locomotive does seem to consistently be the H1 class that's going round. If I can try and find it, I think it'll just be going round there. I love that locomotive. Couldn't tell you why. I think aesthetically it's lovely. The livery I do absolutely love. But that's probably at the moment still my favourite steam locomotive. In terms of diesel locomotives, then that is going to be, if I change camera angles again.
Mark Wilson says, Hereford was my secret stash.
Yeah, a few people have been saying that. This Class 07 is my favourite diesel. It's 07009 in factory weather.
You're one out from being a proper, from getting the correct class, Jen. A class, class 8. Gronk it up.
So has anybody been able to enlighten us?
No, he hasn't said anything since you greeted him at 7:30.
Interesting. I don't know. He didn't.
Look, guys, if this is something that's going on that's not in the chat, then don't make people unwelcome.
No. So I don't know what's gone on there.
It's like we say every week, the club is for everyone. The only time that we ever block someone off or time them out or something is if they're spamming the chat. This is for everyone. Everyone's welcome. We're also here for having a good time. We're all in the same hobby. We all like the same stuff. So come on, let's just have a good time.
So I hope he's all right. So
I do as well.
Drop an email or a message on Facebook if there's been a problem, and we will try and sort it out. Because I don't like people to feel that they're unwelcome for whatever reason.
Absolutely, this is supposed to be for everyone.
Iton Hill Sim, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says check the Bluebell Railway site for their odd bargain. Yeah, there's a lot of bargains out there, and I think what I was trying to do in that video was to take an example and go, look, There's some great stuff out there in some of the model shops, which are not necessarily as well known as the really big box shifters. And I know that, we've talked a little bit about the Bachmann prices on their current releases. And it was trying to show that new stuff doesn't necessarily have to break the bank. And a lot of the stuff that Hereford Model Centre had there, you're talking about models that are still getting released with a different livery, different identity. So it's the same tooling, but they had them for, like, in some cases, I think some of the tanker wagons worked out at less than a third of the current RRP for that type of wagon. And I'm shooting myself in the foot here, because in my shopping basket waiting to be bought is a triple pack of the Lion Emulsion tankers, which was a special commission that they did. I think they have about 8 left, probably don't now that I've mentioned them. But it's just an incredible value for money when you think that the Bachmann tanker wagons are pushing like 25, 26 pounds RRP, and this is a pack of 3 for that kind of price. You can't be robbed at that. What?
Mark Wilson says, no, not the Bluebell shop as well.
Unfortunately, yes, and I do feel a bit like bad, because you'd think that, like, I could just keep my mouth shut and I could pick up some...
I'm sorry, but no, anyone who's met you knows you cannot keep your mouth shut.
No, this is the thing. It's not about just me, and I do get annoyed when I see some YouTube channels that it's almost like they feel like they're pulling the ladder up. They won't give a shout out to anybody. They won't big up other people's channels, and they certainly won't tell you where they're getting their bargains from. And I think that's just totally wrong. We're a community. We're all in this together. I know a lot of people struggle to afford stuff, especially in these chasing times. So I'm just trying to get the word out there of where to go looking to find this great stuff.
Canal Borting's asked us a couple of times, so let's answer it. Hi Jan, have you got a discount code for viewers to use at Rails of Sheffield? It'd be nice if we did.
I will. I'm gonna ask them about that, because maybe that is something that I can arrange with Rails. Just like a Jenny Monday or something.
Yeah, we can't guarantee anything, and it's not within our gift to demand it, because we certainly shouldn't do that. I just
want to make it clear at this point, I have not in any way spoken to Rails about this. So what I will do is, I think I might go and talk to Rails and see if it is possible. It may not technically be possible with their ordering system. There may not be a function to be able to do that. But that is something maybe I'll look into for the future. But
Mark Wilson is now pleading for you. Please don't mention Hatton's pre-owned website selection. Please, whatever you do.
I always found them to be a little bit pricey. All brutal honesty, I found the Hatton's pre-owned to be a little bit on the expensive side, if truth be told.
But at the same time, if it's the only place you can get something that you've been wanting for ages, then
I mean, it's a great service.
Maybe it's the right price.
It's a great service, and at the end of the day, they've got overheads and stuff.
And they do actually tell you exactly what's wrong with them in the descriptions as well.
And not only that, if you have any kind of a problem, then you know that you're not going to get fobbed off. And that is worth a lot. B Mozza says, will the box set be running on the live show next week? Yes, and this is something else I was saying. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was talking about how expensive February has been. So, I went to Hereford Model Centre. I bought the Class 15. You saw it in the video as well. The Mark 1 coach, which is actually going round behind the 9F. And the Shark brake fan. So I bought those 3 from there. I've also bought from B Mozza. Finally thought, no, you know what? If I don't get this, I'm going to regret it. I bought the Railway Children box set. So there's that coming. I then bought from Tim at Arcadia Models. I got the 4 London Brighton and South Coast Railway liveried 4-wheelers from Hornby, plus the London and North Western Railway liveried one. And whilst I was there, I went, you know what, I'll have one of those T9 Greyhounds in the London and South Western Railway pea green as well. So before you know it, in the space of like 3 or 4 days, I spent a lot of money. I'm aware that the other half is sat there going, what? And you complained at that £25 for a copy of Atelier Iris?
I'm saying nothing. I just bought an LCD game the other day for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was so excited for it to turn up.
Yeah. The Birmingham train spotter says, I know a place that's great. It's called Baz's Model Railway Ship. He's on Facebook. His prices are great. Ron B is... Oh, so that's halfway through a conversation. But yeah, somebody talked about fitting stuff with the decoder before selling it. I personally wouldn't. It doesn't tend to bump the price up, but decoders cost money. You might as well keep the decoder.
Yeah.
Because what you spend on the decoder, you will not get back with a comparative uplift in the price. To be perfectly honest with you, unless it's a sound decoder. Sound decoders do seem to command a reasonable reselling price. But even so, you probably not get back what you paid for it.
Okay, B2000 RO Toys channel has been asking several times, where and when can I get an Aristocrat G-Gauge Pacific for Gordon? Don't know.
Yes, you did mention this the other week. I don't know, to be honest with you. One thing would be to search eBay, look for it secondhand. Yeah. But also try just asking Rails of Sheffield. Their stockroom is like a vault.
Oh my
goodness! They don't
yeah.
necessarily. In fact, I know for certain there's a lot of stuff that they have in their stockroom that is not listed on eBay. It's not listed on their website.
They didn't even know they had it.
Yeah, I mean, I was like opening a box and going, "Oh, look at these! Look at these!" And John Barber was like, "Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know we had them." So the thing is,
there's a possibility that they haven't.
There's a possibility they could have several. So it may be worth actually either emailing them or ringing them up and saying, look, this is what I'm after. If you were to come across one in your vast cavernous warehouse, would you drop me a line? And I'm sure they'd be more than happy to. And what will tend to happen is that they'll be looking for something else. And they'll come across it and go, oh yeah, somebody was asking about this. And that's probably a good way of doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
Cameron S asks, is the D-Class due soon? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't heard anything further. We have seen livery samples and EPs, so that should theoretically be coming out before the Manners do. You would have thought, but I don't, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I've not heard anything further on the D-Class, but I don't think they're that far away. You look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to wait till you finished. Garthian has just made a... Whoa. My goodness, I knew what I was going to say was important, but I didn't realise you were going to stop all the trains.
That's new.
Yeah. Garthian's made a very good point. He says, I think Andy may just be feeling a bit out of sorts with the continued lockdowns. And that is a fair point. Guys, if you're feeling down and not yourself because of the lockdowns, the Samaritans are there.
Definitely.
Do feel like you can ask for help because it's there.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's no prizes for bottling it up and trying to be a hero. If you need help, do seek out that help. Nobody will feel bad if you... And it's something that we've tried to do throughout lockdown with the Monday Club, is just be there for people. I know that there's a lot of people who, you might be living on your own, away from friends, away from family. I know that we've got a lot of family that we haven't been able to see. We're very lucky.
And it's been hard. It really has.
It has been very, very hard. And what we've been trying to do with the Monday Club is just provide this, albeit online, this environment where like-minded people can hang out. Because, the model rail clubs are all closed, stuff like that. I know it's not perfect, but it's something that we can do. And if you know somebody that you know is struggling, maybe spend a little bit of time to just get in touch, ask them how they're doing, and be a caring ear that they can talk to. Because sometimes, it's very difficult to kind of know how to express if you're having difficulty. And if somebody just says, look, I'm happy, just talk to me. Just the process of talking can sometimes be just what you need to get it out there, and that can be really helpful. So don't be frightened of saying to people, look, can we just have a chat, talk, because often that is probably a really helpful thing that you can do for people. We're not saying that that's necessarily the thing, but just bear in mind that lockdown has been incredibly tough for a lot of people.
And that toughness comes out in several ways. You can't really tell from looking at someone how they're going to react to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought I was quite a loner. I've worked from home. I have long hours on my own, and I've always been fine with it.
Yeah, you reveled in it.
But the moment it turned out that I couldn't just go out and for a walk whenever I wanted, then it became tough.
Yeah, definitely.
So you never know how someone's going to react.
Ham Shackleton says, due to these lockdowns, I've not seen my mother, who's in a care home since January last year. We're all in the same mess. Yeah, definitely. It's I haven't really seen my parents. Haven't seen your parents. I haven't even seen my sister, who lives up the road, at all. Nieces and nephews. The most we've ever been able to do is really Zoom calls, and it's not the same. And it is very difficult. And I know
they stopped doing the Zoom calls after I did that really hard quiz, which I thought was all right. We used to have a fairly regular Zoom quiz, and then it became my turn to ask the questions.
Yeah. As Dongit's Model Railway says here, there's a big difference between staying at home because you want to and staying at home because you are required to.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I know it's always the big joke that
Why you were saying sorry?
Sorry. So, oh my word. Robert Steers has very generously, through the paypal.me link, sent £10. Says, greetings from Montana. Thank you ever so much. That is incredibly generous. Thank you so much for sending that through. It does help an awful lot to be able to keep the channel going, to be able to get the things to review, to make the videos. So that is incredibly generous, Robert. Thank you. Thank you ever so
Clive,
much.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear, and that's it. I mean, unfortunately there has been a very real toll through this.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost a friend at work, and it was that was actually quite early on. That was in the first lockdown, and I didn't know him to hang out with him after work, but we got on really well. He was so easy to get on with, and within the space of 2 weeks, he actually went into hospital for something completely unrelated to corona. He didn't have corona. He had, and it was like a leg ulcer or some kind of issue with his leg. And he went into hospital. He caught coronavirus in hospital and died from it. And it was like 2 weeks from him being at work, being absolutely fine. And I can remember I went to, I met him purely by chance at one of the places that I go to, and I can remember talking to him, and it is really hard to kind of comprehend that somebody that you're chatting with is just gone with it in 2 weeks. So yes, it is really hard.
It's
so
that kind of disease.
I am a very emotional person, so I'm it's like my eyes leak a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. I think most of us can say, yeah, we all know somebody who's no longer with us because of what we've been going through. And it's not just because of COVID. There's people who haven't been able to see parents or grandparents who've passed away, and just not even been able to say goodbye. And it is really tough. But there we are. Amtrak Junction asks, how are you this week? Much better? Yes, I didn't spend the day filming a TV series, which does help. In fact, I've spent most of today just languishing around watching episodes of Mythbusters.
Yeah, you've been practicing for your next role in the next TV show that you're filming, where she's going to be a floorboard this time.
Roger Wolstenholme also says, Bachmann, Class 57, Chad Vara, the creator of the Samaritans. I'm presuming that's one of them has been named after them. Definitely, that is definitely good. Yeah, and I don't know whether a small amount of the sale of that is actually going towards the charity. I know that they did with the NHS one. A small amount of the sale on that went to the charity. So I don't know whether that's the case in that as well. Brian Stone says, Steve R, Canadian winters, eh? I did 2 years in North Ontario. Minus 25 centigrade was regular. Gosh, we never get down that low here. I can remember it being a big deal when we hit -12 or -15, and that was like big news, because as a rule I think -6 or 7 is about as cold as it usually gets here. So I can, that is the sort of cold where you you don't want to stick your tongue on the flagpole.
Well, you shouldn't do that anyway. You don't know what's on it.
Yeah, right.
You don't know who's been touching it.
Although, Peter Leyland, I can't fault your logic on this, as the best way to see a relative is to see them in your local supermarket. It's about timing. Yeah, I mean, if they live close by, although Zoe's family all live up in the northeast.
Yeah, 250 miles away. We have to be a very big supermarket.
Yeah, I think we might be taking the pee a little bit there, if we went shopping in the Tesco in Durham.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Swindon69 says, the care home where my mother-in-law was brilliant. They let my other half be with her mother when she died. That is nice. And there's a lot of care homes who have been going above and beyond to, they recognise how difficult these times are.
Yeah.
The Angels share model railways. Hi to you. Garthian says, it's been 14 months since I last got a chance to see my mother, though both she and my dad have had the first part of the vaccine now, so that's good. I'm still waiting, though. Ben Davis says, talking out eyes water, I think autocorrect had a hand in this sentence. Talking out eyes water, I think it's talking about eye-watering prices. Bachmann and Hornby both have old tools, which are... want a dump price like Hornby's are 3866 Battle of Britain 34051 Winston Churchill. Want £200 for 20-year-old tools, and the T9. Yeah, the T9, I think 2011, I seem to recall, or maybe 2012 is the date on the T9. So it's about 8 years old at least. It is still a very good model, but it's about 150 for that London and South Western Railway livery. But what I will say is they are selling at that price, and you can't fault Hornby in a way that they're going to sell them all at that. They're not going to hang around on the shelves. So you could argue that, like it or not, then that's the price the market is prepared to pay. Tim at Arcadia had 3 left at the point that I bought mine. I have had a look around. Durham Trains of Stanley still had at least 1 listed when I checked their website, and I think it was Lord and Butler also had 1 listed when I passed through their website. So that there are definitely a lot of 1s or 2s out there at all times. Are you all right? What are you?
Oh, I'm just fiddling.
Yes, you are. Right, it's unnerving with you sort of looming over things over there.
I don't loom over things.
Right. Let's have a look. Naive Gauge. Has anyone got advice on where to get wheel sets, axle plus 2 wheels from, for N-Gauge in particular, either 3 different, I've also from eBay that needs modern wheels to run better. I know in 00, Bachmann and Hornby sell wheel sets separately. I guess they might do for Graham Farish as well, which is part of Bachmann.
Mark Wilson says, no, not the Durham Train Shop as well. No, stop.
No, man. It's like, it's all my bargains, man.
Apologies to everyone who saw my hair in the camera.
Yeah, I was just wondering what that was. Humanity Junction Model Railroad, big hi to you. And I am going to be recording a video for you later on this week. I think it's a video response. We'll get round to doing that. I've also got to interview Ken Patterson this week, and I haven't sent in the questions yet. So tomorrow I'm going to work on that. I also have to write an article for Railway Modeler about another layout. But yes, other news. We've got other news. Yes, Weir Yard is in the next issue of Railway Modeler, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Do rush out and buy your own copy, because the photographs are amazing, because they photoshopped like proper sky-ins. So instead of just seeing the the angles and stuff, they've actually made it look really good. I've seen some of the pictures and it's like, wow, is that my model? That's really good. So Railway Modeler next month. Why have I been passed this back again? Why do I want your backwash?
Welcome back, Somerset Andy.
Hi, Somerset Andy. How are you doing? It's great to see you back, and I hope you're doing okay. I'm well behind on the comments here. Right. Garthian says, I thought the hair monster was a Yeti controlled by the Great Intelligence. Doctor Who reference.
Thank you for calling me a great intelligence.
Right. Somerset Andy says, Jenny, I know, will do my giveaway comp, then shut my channel down. Please support breast cancer and donate. Thank you. I'm so sorry to hear that. And sometimes I know that it was something Intercity 82. I'm sure we're all familiar with that channel. It kind of it took a hiatus from the channel. Yeah. And sometimes you've got to put your own mental health and own well-being first. And rather than deleting a channel, sometimes it's better to just go on hiatus for a bit, take a break. Don't feel that you have to keep putting out videos, because if you're putting out a video because you feel you have to, rather than because you want to, then it's just not good for you. If you need to take a break, then do so. Don't feel bad about doing that.
Absolutely.
AFD Comp says, I shall be receiving my first course of the vaccine tomorrow. To say that I'm relieved will be an understatement. Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's one good thing that they've managed to do in the UK is roll out the vaccines. Aiden L says, bonjour, Monday Clubbers. Yeah. Bonjour, mange tout, which reminds me as well, there is a Hornby Trotters Independent Traders ventilated van
we
being
so
done.
need that. We so need to get that.
Lovely jubbly. Oh, Rodney, you saucy tart. What a 42 carat plonker you really are. Hurry up and get Grandad out the van.
Railway fan says, hi Jenny, which Dapol Class 68 livery do you prefer?
Ooh, I've not really thought about it, you know, because it's like super modern image. I have to be honest and say I just haven't thought about it. Now, I know that a lot of people do speak really highly of the Class 68. In fact, to the point where I've not heard a bad thing said about them. They're generally regarded as being a really, really great model, one of the best models on the market at the moment. But in terms of livery, I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't even... I think there's DRS Compass livery, is it? I don't know, I'm just purely guessing here. I don't even know who operates them. It's really quite tragic. But certainly, I'd just be guessing if I gave a livery, it has to be said. Oh, my kitty ears are
probably
falling.
A green one or a blue one or a purple one.
Big hello to J. Paul Anderson. I'm not sure I've name checked you before. I'm really sorry. Right. Hello, Wamgok, Richard Swiderski, Cameron S.
Ben Davis has a good question for you here.
Uh-huh.
Jenny, with Dapol having shown an engineering sample of GWR's Manor class, which one would you like? Out of the Dapol, Ben likes the 78323, even Hutch Norton Manor, BR lined black early emblem.
I'll be honest, I haven't really thought about it. I think if there's a BR green version, I do really like the BR green, but I also like the Great Western Railway green. So, I don't know. I'll have to have a ponder about that. James Hardy says, are you getting the Hornby A2/2? So this is the Thompson A2. No immediate plans, it has to be said. It's one of those things that I know, if money were no object, there's a lot of stuff that I would get that I want to review, and even just, you know, from a purely selfish want. Are you all right over there? Too much caffeine?
Yeah, I'm starting to twitch again. My hand isn't shaking, but I'm starting to twitch. So,
but yeah, if money were no object, there's so much stuff that I would, from a purely selfish point of view, just because it's like, oh, I want one of them, I want one of them. But, you know, like everybody else, I've got to pace myself. And the Hornby A2, I kind of had to draw the line somewhere, and unfortunately the Hornby A2 became a casualty of that. I couldn't justify that along with everything else that I want. I mean, I've just bought that T9. That, for me, was a must-have item, so I did get that. I've got, excuse me, I've got a lot of the 4-wheel coaches that I've just bought. I've got a load more on order. There's going to be a lot from the Hattons Project Genesis this year. But then we're also looking at, there's a H2 Atlantic from Bachmann that I've got on order. And numerous other items as the year goes on, from Hellion, from Dapol, from Accurascale, from Bachmann, from Hornby. And there's so much great stuff out there. It really is hard to keep on top of. Right, let's have a look.
A lot of people are talking about the lion.
The lion?
And whether anyone's going to make one.
Yeah,
and whether Hellion did one once.
Did one once?
Yeah.
Did
With a model railway says, didn't Hellion do the lion?
Not that. Oh no!
Oh, hello to Retro Mickey 82, who has arrived and mentions Jenny has accidentally bought some trains. How did you Jenny, how did you accidentally buy some trains? Tell us the story about how you slipped and they fell into your shopping basket.
Yeah, I slipped, fell into a shopping basket, and as I was floundering around trying to get up, I accidentally clicked the Buy It Now button, and that's how it happened. And that, Your Honour, is the story I'm sticking to. So Somerset Andy says, please donate to cancer research, which is obviously a very great charity that is doing some absolutely sterling work. And of course, it's very easy in these COVID times to forget that there's a lot of other things that gets us in the end, and cancer is the biggie. I know at the moment my grandfather has got a terminal diagnosis of cancer. I mean, he's in his mid-90s, so it's, you know, he's had a very good innings and he's come to terms with that. Are you all right?
Somerset Andy says, Jenny, can you please say hi to Nikki, my sister? Rest in peace, bless her.
So a big hello to Nikki. Rest in peace, and I'm terribly sorry for your loss. It's always difficult when somebody very close to you passes away like that, and if it's any consolation, I know how devastated you must feel. I lost my first fiance to well, in her case it was suicide, so I completely feel for you. I know how hard it is to go through something like that. So absolutely sorry for your loss. So I get really emotional now.
Are you okay, babe?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I just, my eyes leak at the slightest thing. But yeah, it's tough times. We're all going through some very tough times.
It's never easy. Even if it's not a tough time, it's still never easy. I mean, it took you so long to get over her.
I never got over it. And that's it.
And that's the thing that I think until you've experienced loss, you don't quite understand. It never goes away. You just learn to live with it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk too much about things in my past. It's right. Anyway, David Scott asks, question for those using cassettes for stock storage. How or where do you put the cassettes? I presume loco cassettes. I've taken a look into these. Pico do some interesting ones.
What do these local cassettes look like?
It's kind of like imagine like a box that you put up to the layout, and the train runs into it, and then you can just sort of lift them up, and the train's inside the box on the track, and you just sort of rack and stack it out of the way. Or you can literally, on some exhibition layouts, you take the cassette and you can sort of turn it around. So instead of running like
interesting
to turn the locomotive, you turn it around.
A set of customized shelves might be your best bet, the same way that we did for stacking the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I built custom shelves for Zoe for her game collection, and ostensibly it's for PS2 games. But the best way to think about it is shelves that take DVD cases. They're made to the exact size, so that there's no wasted space, and the actual case, the thickness of the shelf, the depth of the shelf, is perfect, so that you don't waste any space in the room. Also means you don't have to dust shelves, because the shelf does not protrude beyond the game. In fact,
the game protrudes from the shelf,
yeah,
which means you can get your finger above and below and pull
yes,
out.
which is very important. Believe me, I've got some CD shelves where it's almost impossible to get the blooming things out because you can't get a grip on them.
Mm-hmm.
So these were designed where the shelves end about half an inch before the game case ends, so you can just get in and pull out, and it's a really great idea.
And because you can pull them in and out, it means you can have the shelf exactly the height of the thing you're storing, which means that there is no lost space, which means there's chances are you're getting an extra shelf in there. And when space is a premium, that's the way to do it. But yeah, everyone who's saying, who's reaching out and saying they want to help Andy, that is, thank you so much. This is exactly why we've got a good community like we have, because people do care.
And it is tough when you lose somebody very, very close. You know, grief is a very complex thing. You never get over the loss of somebody. You just learn to manage it.
Yeah.
And in my case, that's this we're talking about. It happened now, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Longer.
It happened. Didn't it happen before you met me?
Around the same time. She wasn't my fiance anymore at that point. Yeah. There was ups and downs, but sometimes you find your soulmate, and Zoe. This isn't nothing new for Zoe, but there's a lot of history. I knew them going right back to infant school, so we were kind of we're almost like a double act.
Childhood sweethearts.
Kind of, yeah. And there's still things that I find almost impossible to talk about. And it's almost like it's on the tip of my tongue, and you feel like, would I feel better to talk about it or not? And I think yes, I would, but there's always a part of me which thinks, you once you let the genie out of the bottle, can you put it back in? And I'm not sure that, it's my grief, and I don't want to feel like I'm making other people grieve with me. It just because it hurts me so much, I don't want other people to feel the same.
I understand.
And it's like I say, grief is very difficult. It's each person deals with it in their own way. There's no master plan no, that's what we do to deal with it. But it is tough, and sometimes you don't feel that you can't talk to people. If you need to talk to people, then there are charities out there who are there to help people. You don't have to feel like you failed to have to ask for help. It's not a game. But hey, so
it's not a race either.
Yeah,
don't feel like you have to get through it quick.
Yeah, I mean,
or
like
you
I
have
said,
to get it through it at the same time as anyone else around you.
Yeah, 15 years, and I still cry when I talk about Steffi, and I think I always will. I'll be like 90 or 100 years old, and I will still cry when I talk about them, because there's such a history there, and that's all right, and that's what you've got to tell yourself. You don't get past grief. You learn to deal with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Look at me blubbing here. We're supposed to be talking about trains.
Then let me ask you a question here.
Okay.
Frank Warner says, "Hi Jenny Newsop. As a kid, I travelled on the Blue Pullman. My dad had to pay an extra 18 shillings. Wow, that's a fair amount. Do you have a Blue Pullman? And why do you think it has such a great fan following?"
I don't have a Blue Pullman, but it is definitely one which I like the look of. There's something about it. I think that people like it because it evokes a golden age of railways. It's almost like the final hurrah before the kind of what people see as the dreary end of steam and the corporate period. The Blue Pullman was effectively the first attempt at what became the HST, I suppose. And aesthetically, it is quite a beautiful multiple unit. I should have got one when I think it was Hatton's was selling off the Nanking blue one, but with the full yellow ends quite cheaply. There's a part of me thinking I should have bought one, but I didn't, unfortunately. I think I think it's the case that if it was possible to say, exactly the reason why something proves to be really popular, then I think the manufacturers would score gold every single time. Sometimes it's very difficult to put your finger on what it is that makes something a must-have item. Retro Mickey 82 says, I work with cancer research. They do need a lot of help currently. Yeah, and I think a lot of charities have found it very difficult through the lockdown period. So I think now more than ever, they do need people's help and support. There was a comment I was going to read out, and I've just missed it. Garthian says, Jenny, the same goes for you. If you need to chat, you know how to get in touch with me. I've lost a lot of friends, including some to suicide, so do understand. Yeah, and if you knew my full past, you'd know that my past is quite, full of a rocky road for reasons which I don't like to talk about. But crying is something that I do a lot of. I cry when I watch the first 10 minutes of the film Up.
If you don't, you're not human.
Yeah, I cry at the Railway Children, the one with Joni Agate running down the platform, Daddy, Daddy, my daddy. Gets me every time. So, if I'm blubbing, it just means I'm a very emotional person. But I do appreciate very much. Within Model Railway says, I've lost good friends to AIDS and I miss them every day. That's it. You never forget about somebody who meant so much to you. You just don't. Frank Warner. Oh, thank you. Frank Warner says, Jenny and Zoe, I'm a new sub. As a kid, I travelled... Oh, sorry, I've just read that one out.
Yeah.
The Unfamiliar Terrier 48 says, are you considering getting a new P2 when they come out? Which one? I get... you stop messing about. Seriously, stop messing about.
Oh, I almost got it there.
No. This is not a fairground attraction. Let me just show you what she is doing. She's trying to pick the blooming target. Look, you're going to break something here. And you've got it. It's on the track. It's going to run into it. Look.
Yeah, hold that. Give me a hand, will you?
Oh. You can't take her anywhere.
You can, but you have to take me back to apologise. Hello, everyone.
You're using the cardigan that breaks things. When I had a layout in the shed, this one here just kept it was the destroyer of signals. Andy Laws says, Sam always says it's too expensive. I think
Which Sam? And what's expensive?
I'm probably talking about trains. Yeah. I talked with Simon Kohler about this actually in the interview that I did with him, and really great actually. I thoroughly enjoyed actually chatting with Simon. Great guy, very knowledgeable, heart and soul of the hobby in many respects. But the thing is, what you've got to remember is that all model companies are a business. They're there to make money, and it's not about ripping people off. It's about charging an amount that allows them to make money, allows them to recover their costs, allows them to employ people, and also, quite importantly, to put money back into their business in research and development and bringing new models to the market. There's also, the supporting model shops. They've got to make money. They've got overheads. They're not in it for some kind of charity. Will you stop it? His tail's dragging across my scenery.
Someone mentioned a lion, so he came.
Hello. What else was it? But then again, if it's the Sam I think we're talking about, he's fascinated by sprung buffers as well.
Oh, don't drop the lion. He's come to give you a cuddle.
No, he's there. He's like, I like it here now. Stop messing about. Fly Mode Chairman 1, thank you very much. Facebook group, The Monday Club Model Railway with Jenny Kirk, and there's a link there as well to find the Monday Club. Ham Shackleton spotted the yellow van in the goods yard near the Lone Box van, and like rubbish on my layout.
It's not rubbish, it's retro.
Yeah. Davil says, for you to show and explain your emotions on the Monday Club, it's very brave and makes us feel closer to you. Bless you, Jen. Thank you ever so much. Yeah, it's...
hello, Sir Patrick Fallon. How are you doing?
Duncan Watson says, I have a niece who is just 19 or 20 and she has bone cancer. It's very hard for all of us.
Oh, my goodness.
Especially for my brother, her dad. I went through severe depression through PTSD. I also had a breakdown. I'm really sorry to hear that. And yeah, it is so difficult. Really difficult. And it's... Unfortunately, there's not a manual for, like, this is how to deal with these situations.
Ben Thomas says that lion isn't cycling. But yeah, there isn't. There's no right way to deal with your emotions. You just find your own way.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a lion kit, says James Hardy?
There was a rocket kit from
There
Dapol.
was, and I almost bought it for Monkey Builds,
See, Monkey Build.
but I haven't yet.
No, see, I think actually that I think that you've got this an N-Winds 3D thing. I must.
There is.
dig
I haven't
out
even finished the Cessna. That's why there's been no Monkey Builds for a while, because I haven't finished the Cessna.
Duncan Watson says, I got through the worst of this by counselling and talking with friends and family. Yeah, never underestimate how important it is to just talk with people. And in many respects, that's what I did to kind of get through the worst of my grief. But it's you know, I don't think anybody pretends it's easy. It's always difficult, and I think everybody deals with it in their own way to some extent.
Anyone who says it's easy to deal with hasn't experienced it.
Yeah, very much.
Right. Let's bring the mood back up. Pass me that lion, damn it.
Right. What the hell was that?
I don't know.
Oh, just don't open the Coke any.
Oh, you've not. Oh, Jenny's knocked the cork over.
Tim Davis says, Jenny, did you see that Vital Zoom meeting? Vital Zoom? Oh, this wasn't the parish council one, was it?
Oh, you have no authority here.
And apparently, they made the mistake of letting her host the meeting.
Yes, they let the parish clerk host the meeting because
The thing
that
was,
seems like a good idea.
The thing was, I was left thinking, surely what she did would actually get her fired because the chairman...
None of them were correct.
Oh?
The chairman kicked off because he said that the meeting had been called illegally. But the vice chairman, who started screaming about reading and understanding the standing orders, talked about the standing orders, so everyone went and had a look at them, including me.
Right.
The meeting was legal because 2 councillors asked for it. So Jackie was right to call him on that and say, no, this meeting has been called by 2 councillors.
Right.
So
but
he
when
wouldn't
she
stop.
booted him from the meeting...
That was the point that she became wrong as well. So there wasn't a right party in that entire thing.
Yeah.
And then...
Nobody came out of that looking particularly well.
She shouldn't have asked to call for a vote on a chairman for the meeting because the vice chairman was already there.
Yes.
But then he left. He left to go to another meeting with the chairman who'd been kicked out and the rest of that group, that political group. So at that point, the vice chairman had left the meeting, so it was valid to elect a chairman.
I think that...
The entire thing is a complete mess.
Yes, yes.
Crossways Point Junction says, Zoe, what time are you showing the videos? From 8:30.
Although say that we're going for an extra hour tonight.
Yes, we are, but we've got a lot of videos.
Okay.
Hello, I am a lion. Hello.
Key W or Kai W. It's sad to hear about that. Same here, to be honest. Always found model railways a nice escape from the harsh realities of life. Very much. And I guess, in some respects, that's a lot of why people do model railways as a hobby.
I'm the opposite of that. I find the harsh realities of life are a good escape from Jenny's constant talking about model railways.
Samuel Ives says Up is my favourite movie. It is a great movie, actually.
12 Angry Men is my favourite movie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, how good is that film? You know, Jet, my sister's just shown that to my nieces, and apparently Molly, the oldest one, who is about to become a teenager, so you kind of know what the attitude is there.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, at the start of it, and then by 10 minutes in was engrossed.
Right. I'm going to, because I know we've talked a lot about grief and stuff. I'm going to try and move on to happier stuff, because I don't want it to kind of reach a point where we're all talking about grief and me blubbing my eyes out. So I'm going to move on to...
And the funny C as a great non sequitur here. The British politics I catch wind of always seems like the most book-wild adventures. There was this brilliant line. Philip DeFranco, who's a brilliant YouTuber who does a lot of news analysis. He once said, when I sent him a speech that who was it? Michael Gove had done, going out at the Labour Party. He said, the British political system always appears to be like some kind of rap battle with all your allies in the back going, hey.
Yeah, that's sort of like hip and with it. Anyway, no politics. Right.
Okay.
Anyway. Messing about with models, I think if you compare what we have available and the quality of the models compared to what was available in the 70s and 80s, we are very well served by the manufacturers. Well said. Actually, yes, absolutely. Because when you think back in those days, what we had was essentially toys. And when you look at some of those old models, they were a bit rubbish. We had the golden period, the sort of like late 1950s, early 1960s. We had marks like Hornby 00, not all, but quite a bit of the super detail type stuff that they brought to the market. The 8F, the Castle class, the West Country, the Class 8 as well. What you've got to remember was that the Class 8 from Hornby 00 was not bettered until Bachmann basically tooled up They're All Singing, All Dancing one in about 1997. We then had the sort of like the dross of the 70s with, you'd get the same model would be in the catalogue year in, year out, never changing. And it wasn't really until you got the likes of Mainline and Palitoy turning up where there was this, a real drive to improve things. And now what we're seeing is that we've never had it so good in terms of choice of models. Unfortunately, as well, it's become a very expensive hobby. The Unfamiliar Terrier 48 says, will you be getting the Hellion 02? Yes, I will. The class...
Sorry, I just saw something hilarious. Go on.
Yes, I will be getting the Hellion Class 02 diesel. I'm really looking forward to that. I really have a thing for small shunting diesel locomotives. It's one of the reasons why my favourite diesel locomotive is currently the Hellion Class 7, the factory weathered version, 07009 in the BR Tops Blue. And I'm really looking forward to that 02. It's one model which has never been available in any form ready to run. So super duper, we're getting in O gauge first, then 00. Really, really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be something really, really special. The 02 was, of course, quite long-lasting, although geographically quite limited in BR days. Worked around sort of Liverpool, Widnes, Ellesmere Port type area. But a lot of them were sold on into industrial use and lasted quite late in that, guys. And it's one of the reasons that actually a number of them do survive. Because they found further use in industry. But they did last long enough in BR ownership for 3, I think, got tops numbers. Although it's a sign that they were being withdrawn quite quickly. The ones with tops numbers were a little bit, rather than being sequential, I think it was 02008 was one of them. And then a couple of others lower down. And there was a lot of tops numbers in between that must have been allocated to locomotives but never carried by them. So they were withdrawn quite quickly. And it does leave, as far as I can think, the only substantial BR class of diesel yet to be released in any form ready to run be the Class 01 diesels. If you do count the Class 6 from Hornby, but that was a rubbish model, and I would love to see a really high quality Class 6 diesel, and I suspect that if the Class 02 from Hellion is particularly popular, then we may well see some of these other classes appear.
Okay, Kevin ZZ says, so this is the thing I was laughing at, the problem with bad political jokes is that they keep getting elected by the people. And as someone who's been elected, yes, I can say that.
Right, Frank Warner says, Jenny, the original wheels on the Triumph dock shunt to Transcontinental, is there a solution or replacement? Are they the ones that basically the wheels are described as pizza cutter wheels because they've got such big treads?
Don't mention pizza, the turtles are fans around.
Yeah. Whoa, pizza dude. I would suggest that in some respects it's about like basically you're polishing a poo.
Good night,
to some
Somerset
extent.
Andy. Take care.
Yeah, look, you take care, and don't forget we are always here for you if you want to. Sorry.
Just realised I'm in top chat and I probably missed loads of stuff.
But we are always here for you, and you're always welcome back. And if you just want to take some time with us to, think about trains and take your mind off things, we are always here for you. Right, in the train, 80 quid for a porthole coach. We're going to keep coming back to that. It'll be interesting to see how well the Bachmann announcements sell. It is getting really expensive. We're looking at prices now passing £200 easily for a DC ready locomotive and £80 for a regular coach. Not even lighting in that as far as I'm aware. So it'll be really interesting to see whether these really do sell.
The train now arriving at platform 1 is the 2031 to the Monday Club video session. Departing for Weir Yard, Bolton Trinity Road, Grove Street Yard, at the Monday Club video session. That's the 2031 train, which is now late.
You forgot to mention Mineth Tatis.
It's not going to Mineth Tatis.
Well, it might be.
It's not.
Thomas Whittington says, I see the TARDIS opposite the retaining wall.
One.
Or is this a really old comment? Am I still like...
Nope. What he was seeing was something else that was blue.
Oh, okay.
Because the TARDIS is here.
Right. Richard Swiderski says, Jen, how would you number the rails on a turntable? i.e. from left to right or right to left? I've never thought about that. I'm just thinking, my turntable, I haven't numbered any of the tracks. I will be totally honest with you. No politics. Andophonic, absolutely right, no politics. White Wall Wheels 1 Hardcore MOH, big hello to you. And when you want to upgrade, you buy a new shell. Oh, I think we're talking about turtles. Retro Mickey 82 says, I want a McDonald's. I think somebody else, maybe Roof Railways, said that you want a McDonald's.
They were in a car with their sister going to McDonald's.
Ah, yes. Right. Garthian sees the Enterprise. Garthian has like special radar. Right. Roof Railways, we're just queuing up the videos right now. Tico 360, welcome back. Kevin ZZ, same chassis used for about 10 different locos regardless of being correct wheelbase. Yeah, the Hornby Railroad 040s. I can think of at least 6 different styles of locomotive all using that same 040 chassis. Richard Brighton says £50 in 1980 is now approximately £200 in today's money with inflation. We often hear complaints about models being £200-ish, but people were paying £50 in 1980. Yeah, definitely, and it's something that did come up in the interview with Simon Kohler. That essentially, the problem that we've had is not that prices are expensive now. It's possibly that they were too cheap after production moved to China. And I know maybe that sounds a bit of an oxymoron, but if the manufacturers had charged more, people wouldn't have got into this train of thought where they thought that actually £50 in 2005 for an all-singing, all-dancing locomotive was the going rate. And in some respects, the manufacturers made a rod for their backs. They just didn't necessarily realise it at the time. And what they shouldn't have done is drop the prices and up the quality when they could, because it came home to roost. And that's what we're seeing now. As costs are rising in China, as Chinese workers want a decent wage, and you cannot begrudge them for that, it is forcing the prices up. And it's the change in price quite rapidly over a short period of time is what people are sticking in their mind. It's that, you know, people got used to things costing a lot less than perhaps they should.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely true to say that actually, you know, when you go back and you look at, say, what it cost for a Hornby 00 train set in the 1950s and multiply through by inflation, they were hideously expensive. You know, you're talking about 2 whole weeks of the average person's wages just to buy something like a Hornby 00 Dorchester. And, you know, that's a lot of money. You know, these things were never cheap. And what happened was in the late 1990s, when production moved to China, the manufacturers passed on too much of the savings and made people expect the models to only cost that much. So when the prices inevitably went up, they made a rod for their own backs.
Okay, we're going to go to our first video now, Jen, so if you just press the button.
No worries. So we've got, just saying hello to Gwian Reese Davies. Says, love the little Ruston 48DS.
Space.
Absolutely.
The final
And some of the
frontier.
new models
These
are
are the
still...
voyages of the Starship.
What the heck is
Exodus.
this?
Its 5-year mission to
What are we
explore
watching?
strange new worlds, to seek
No, you
out
didn't.
new life.
Right. Why are we watching animated Star Trek?
I had to do that. It was so
Wardle
funny to
Road,
me.
big hello to you. Richard Brighton as well, definitely. Google inflation tool to do some comparisons, definitely. And you look at the price of houses as well. You know, people looking at it go, oh, well, you know, you got to buy a house for £3,000 in 1950. It's like, yeah, but £3,000 in 1950 was a lot of money. You know, that multiplied through by inflation, that's quite a lot. You know, and when you think in real terms, cars. You know, cars were costing over £1,000. You know, a third of what a house was costing. You know, cars used to be very blooming expensive, and you didn't get a lot for your money.
Okay, now we've got the actual first video. I had to do that because I thought it was hilarious. Turn the volume down before the next one, Zoe's has got in. I didn't realise it was up. Oh no! Oops.
Who knows?
Okay, the volume is definitely off now. This is Charlie McGowan with his Hornby
R3623 Coronation Scott review. So it's
only a few minutes long.
That's fine.
But we
Make
haven't got
it
the
full
volume
screen.
on.
Press play.
Let's have a look at this.
So Caledonian, it would be nice to see them tool that up for a modern market. We've got a nice selection of locomotives there. Is that a 9F at the background? A lot of them are not with their tenders though. The Class 25 and full rake there of the maroon Mark 1s. And that is Hornby 00 Sir Nigel Gresley. Oh my word. That's the AL1. The Hornby 00 AL1, isn't it? They're actually quite rare, you know.
Beep, beep.
Dennis Fire Engine. Is that a Dennis? That's certainly sort of like 1960s, probably 1960s. Class 55. That is the other news as well. We've seen the BR Blue versions of Accurascale. Class 55, really looking forward to them. It does look to be the last word. In Class 55s, I believe it's the first of Accurascale's new locomotives to be coming through. But there's the Coronation Scott. It's a really nice locomotive, and it is a glaring omission from my collection insofar as I've got the de-streamlined version, but not the streamlined version. Of course, Duchess of Hamilton, I think it is, in the National Railway Museum. has been put back into that condition, and it does look mighty fine.
I always love these low-level shots to give the proper sense that these things are big.
So we also got J94. Hello to you, Brian.
Bangotchi Junction says, I didn't think orthopedic shoes would help, but I stand corrected.
Canal Boating, big hello to you. Must get my Hornby live steam Flying Scotsman ready this year. Oh, you must. Live steam is the way. Kai W says, thanks for reading. I didn't expect that. If you can shout out for my friend's channel, Wireford Model Railway would be amazing. It's a West Coast mainline layout I've built and we both developed. Stay safe. So that's Wireford Model Railway. Big shout out to them. Lynn says, I'm loving the Star Trek Enterprise. Stephen Dakin says, the 1950s Hornby 8F was really expensive back then. It was aimed at middle-class parents treating their children, or middle-class parents treating themselves. Manthony 1956, but how many of us bought the basic model that we could afford, then spent time looking and buying detailed parts so our models would match our photos? I must admit, I didn't. I just bought Hornby 00 second-hand. And was very, very happy with it. And I love, even to this day, the Hornby 00 super detail coaches with the tin plate sides, but plastic roof, underframe detail and plastic ends. I still think are some of the best coaches that have ever been on the market. And they were never cheap. And, you're talking about, I was buying them brand new from Hatton's for around the £25 to £40 mark in the early 1990s, and we're only now starting to pass the point where even the Hornby all singing all dancing Mark 1s, you're still picking them up for about £31, £32. So they're not even at the point the Hornby 00 coaches were at in terms of even before you multiply through by inflation. J. Paul Anderson says, anybody seen Sam's review of the Hornby Thompson Pacific? What a disappointment, that loco.
Never make your judgment about a locomotive based on one person's review.
Have a good look across multiple reviews first, because there have been reviews where I've also reviewed the model and I got a much different conclusion. So it's one of the. Oh, hold on, are we?
No, I was going to bring this up once you said. Ready.
If you make it full screen,
that's fine. Yeah, this is going to the dogs with a running session on the end of January.
Oh, I like this layout with the.
It looks. There's flashing lights.
There's a flashing light in the tunnel.
Okay, this is. Going to the dogs. Who says this clip is from a fixed point and shows various traction passing through, departing, and arriving at the station.
I like the ballasting and look details like the AWS ramps and stuff.
It looks really nice.
Yeah, I like the bridge as well. You see, you've got the bridge girders there dividing between the tracks. There's a lot going on here, and the retaining walls at the back as well. Really, really nice. Oh, there we go. 47 on the move with Network Southeast. Are they Mark IIs? I think
couldn't tell you that.
I think it's a Mark II.
It's a very nice looking layout.
It
like
is,
the fixed point of view.
Oh, there's 1.5. Is that a 1.56?
And everything's moving at the right speed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always very important. I do like the Network Southeast livery. It is really, really nice. Great use of the Bachmann Scenecraft buildings as well. I have to sing the praises. Bachmann Scenecraft, Hornby Scaledale as well, and the Oxford Rail structures too. All great products. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just miles behind on the comment.
Yeah, but what else is new?
Ruben Ashwell says that's a pretty good layout. Definitely is, yeah. Jay says hello. Hi to you. Donget's Model Railway confirms they are Mark IIAs, and Simon Train's Railway Showcase is Class 158. I knew there was a 1.5 in there somewhere. Is that Dick Hardy at the front, the Class 09 shunter?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
I think it is. Peter Leyland says, I genuinely think that the prices of out-the-box stock is incredible good value. I scratch build and kit build for myself, and it is costly for sure. The quality you get now out of the box is terrific. Yeah, and it's very easy to get stuck into a groove again. Oh, 80 quid for a coach, that's a lot of money. And I am guilty of it myself as well, and I hold my hands up at that and say, yeah, we gripe about price, but like I said before, I think it's because our expectations were changed in the late 90s, and it's very difficult to get back over that. And it's something that Tim at Arcadia Models said to me. He says, people are still ordering this stuff. It's still selling. So as much as people gripe, I love the way that the scale speed trains and the way one's slowly overhauling the other. That is great.
Simon Train's Model Railway Showcase also said something that I absolutely agree with. Those Bachmann Art Deco station buildings are gorgeous.
They are very.
I am a massive sucker for anything Art Deco.
Yes, you are. Oh, there's Canal Boating says, I just need 70 yards of over gauge track to go around the garden. Have you got any spare? Now, as I understand it, Pico are still producing track, but we've got a double whammy. That production has been slowed because they need to put in place safe working practices, which means that their volumes are down. And at the same time, a lot of people are stuck at home going, oh, I'm bored. I'll build the model railway. So demand is up, supply is down. But it is still being made. So I spoke to Jack Morgan quite a while back now. I've said this before. This is at Hatton's. And essentially, what he said is that they are still getting stock in, but it's going out the door as fast as it's coming in. It's simply a case of pick your model shop and place your order. It's the only way you're going to really get hold of it, because nowhere has got it.
Yeah, it's not coming back. Are we there?
I'm online.
I'm not. Nothing's coming through.
Oh wow! David Jones sent me £10 on PayPal.me.
Are we there? Here we are. Right,
I think we're back. Sorry about that. I just want to very, very quickly thank David Jones, who sent £10 on the PayPal.me.
Okay,
thank you for
guys.
that. We shall put a penny in the meter, and hopefully we shall remain online.
And that, Jenny, us going offline, is exactly why we can't have anyone send us a video link as an attachment.
Unfortunately,
because I accidentally pressed one thinking it was a YouTube link, and it just crashed our internet while trying to download it.
Unfortunately, please don't send MOV file or MPEG files, that kind of thing. We cannot do anything with it.
Yeah,
what
you've just
Zoe's
seen what
actually
happened
done
there.
is she clicked on the link and it's bugged out our internet connection. So I'm really sorry, we cannot play any files. Don't send them as an attachment. What we need for people to do is to send us the link to where the video is hosted, and we play it that way.
Yeah, we can play anything that's hosted, because streaming takes less bandwidth than downloading. And it's as simple as that.
Right. Right. Yeah. Crossways Point Junction Bernie says no. Put tuppence in the meter. We put a few quid in there, so we're back online. Ben Tullett says Zoe, control that lion. It's probably eating the wires. Keith Pointer says we do out video on Facebook, guys.
You can show Facebook if you've got a URL,
Anyway,
Facebook, YouTube,
are we ready?
Dropbox, anything like that. We can play that.
Let's jibber jabber more showing
Okay,
video.
this one is Tim Condrup, long-time friend of the channel. Who always sends some
Definitely
interesting
right.
stuff.
We are ready.
And
So
there is a Gronk. I love a Gronk.
I do love that. That
He's showing
livery is
his
really
top 5
nice.
favourite
Yeah.
Bachmann.
Flymo Chairman 1, absolutely right. Send video links only. YouTube preferred as its URL titled Monday Club to Zoe at zoerobinson.com.
Yeah.
So I love that Gronk. It is such a nice livery, actually.
Gronks are amazing because
So
it's
is
got
that
something
08?
interesting going on.
No, so it's D3018. I thought that was an 08 number.
Is that the one that you stood next to in one of the photos we got downstairs?
No, I don't think it is. Porter Felix, though, one I have, which I've got a model of. Map the Dragon Railways. Get the hamster to keep running in that wheel. The Duke of Hammond. Have him running in a wheel. Gary Lewis says, looking good now. Was it the new beast from the east? What, you you mean somebody sending a MOV file? Simon Train's Model Railway Showcase says, Gronk it up. Oh yeah. Richard Swiderski says, nice Gronk. Houston Wapp says, like the Gronk. Creeping Jane says, it's easy. Go to Patreon website and search for the person you want to support. I know whilst this stream's been on, actually, I did acquire a new Patreon, so I'm really, really grateful for that. It's another way that you can help us to keep making the videos that you want to see by heading on over to Patreon and supporting the channel.
That's one you like.
Yeah, is that Mallard?
It's got the.
I think it is Mallard.
Front,
I can't read it. It's my eyesight's going. But I love the A4, and I am so going to buy that. I feel loath to tell you where I've got my eye on it, because I name checked Hereford Model Centre and all the bargains were interesting. So there's the experimental purple A4. I've got one in my shopping basket at a retailer that has it at a really good price.
At a price.
And I'm not going to tell you who they are until after I bought it. We've got to have standards. But I so want that model, and I just keep on not quite being able to justify it. So, right. Aidan L says, "Oh, cripes! I mean, what's everyone's favourite pizza topping?" I quite like the Donna Meat Feast, which is a bit naughty because I'm never drunk when I have it. Yes, Wiven Model Railway, it is Walter Wickham, very much. I have my eye on that all singing, all dancing Hornby model of it. That was in the 2019 range, I believe. Stephen Dakins says, "Good night, Clyde." Yeah, good night, Clyde. It's been great having you with us. Garthian says, "Yes, 60022 is Mallard's BR number." Mike and Sue Pudham Junction, hi to you. Garthian's a Patreon as well. Yeah, and a big thank you to all the Patrons as well. When you see my normal videos, you'll see the list on the tail end. And do we need to add a couple to that, don't we?
We do.
So for the next video, there's a couple of new Patreons that need to go on there.
We've now run out of the buffer, so we definitely have to add some more.
Crossways Point Junction Bernie says, "I will do a Gronk video next week. I have one with sound." Excellent. I must say, I've got 2 Gronks with sound, and sound Gronks are a sound investment. Right, shall we move on to the next video?
Yes, if you want to.
Right, no worries, but thank you very much for that.
That is a lovely looking logo at the end there.
It is, actually, yeah. The Malachite Green Battle of Britain class. Creeping Jane gives small amounts to many YouTubers, and it is the best way. There's a lot of YouTubers who can't do the video content that they do without the amazing support of people like you.
I have to admit, I only support 2 people on Patreon, but they're ones I want to see more videos from.
Jay says, "I've recently developed a habit of buying job lots of track on eBay." It's actually a good way of doing it, especially for point work. I bought most of my point work through eBay, and like you say, if you buy a job lot, you actually get a really good price per point.
Okay, the next one we've got coming up, Jen, I think you'll find interesting.
Okay, make it full screen.
This is Gronkston Model Railway with a different type of running session.
Okay, so we're moving on over, and this is that O-gauge one. I really love this.
Yes.
Oh wow, we actually get to see the operators.
Yes, a different type of running session. What he's actually said here, here's a link of myself doing a running session tonight using the webcam as my eyes.
Ah, yeah, I see, yeah, excellent work. Brian Stone says, "Hereford Model Centre still working late tonight." So hopefully they've still got a lot of orders going through. So if you are watching anybody from Hereford Model Centre, then do drop me an email. And well, no, I'm sure they're really happy. But do drop me an email and let me know how it's gone, because I'm always curious whether, you know, how much of an effect these things have. They might drop an email back and go, say, "What are you on about? You did a video?" Well, no, we've not noticed anything. Nothing's different from normal.
Let's see if we get any movement. Oh, here we are.
Charlie McGowan says, "Nice collection and Tornado." Mike and Sam Pudham Junction. Mike says, "Ham and pineapple, controversial pizza topping for some people." Though 57305 Northern Princess, big hello to you, says, "Ham and pineapple is my favourite pizza topping." I actually don't mind it.
You're all wrong, vegetarian.
Yeah. Jeremy Brooks says, "Hello from a frigid Canada." I know it's quite cold over there, I believe. A few people have said that. Garthian says, "92 Squadron in the shed." Right. John PW22, hello to you. Let's have a look. Transport Fan 22, big hello to you. Patrick Furlong asks, have you ever considered roping Zoe in to do a recreation of that retro Yellow Pages advert involving the hunt for a train? I'm sure it was a hunt for a signal box.
Was him?
I always remember. Do you remember the one which was like, it's just possible you could save my life?
Oh,
You know, with the French polisher.
Yes.
And it's like, who are you? I don't know. Who's she?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah.
The one I always remember though is have you got a copy of Fly Fishing by J.R. Hartley?
They used to be like those very, very memorable adverts because I can remember 3 of them. This is an amazing layout. It's a little depot shunting layout, but it's the ballasting and the weathering of the ballast is really, really great.
That's the kind of chair that you need, a gaming chair. Supports your neck and your lower back.
Yeah, but there's not really any space up here for it. That's the problem.
It wouldn't fit in here, but it's the type of chair that you need.
Oh, here we are. Class 8, Gronk, Gronk, Gronk.
Gronk, get up, Gronk.
You know why they're called Gronks, don't you? I've told you before.
Yeah, because they make it sound like Gronk, Gronk.
Yeah, it's a bit like Class 66. One of their nicknames is a Ying.
It's like the they go, Star Wars Gonk droid.
Oh, Gronk,
Gonk,
Gronk,
Gonk, Gonk. It's just a battery pack on legs, but it's called Gonk.
Pete Clark says, love ham and pineapple on a pizza. That's actually quite interesting. There seems to be a big contingent for the old ham and pineapple. Usually quite a controversial thing, putting fruit on a pizza.
You are all wrong.
Matthew Moore says, hey Jenny, love your videos. Greetings from Germany.
Shall we see
Guten Abend, wie geht es euch? Uns geht es gut, danke.
I'm just jumping this on a bit, see if there's any different angles or if it's...
But if you want to see the full video,
I've already linked
got a
it.
link, so put the link in.
It's a nice angle. I cannot. It's almost to the point where you could see the train crashing into the camera, but also it's got a proper focus, which we need to sort out in here. Right.
Yeah.
Shall we jump on?
Yeah, we shall. So
because
just
making our cameras look bad. Okay, now the next one I've got for you, Jen, you might enjoy as well. This is Henry's Transport Adventures and Beyond, and it's an old running session of his with some of his favourite locomotives.
Oh, I'm already seeing a Class 25. Make it full screen.
Yes. Whoops.
Yeah, don't just skip
I pressed the wrong button. I meant to go for full screen. Right, you go.
Okay, we are good to go. I love a Class 25.
You're
one of my favourite types of locomotive. Oh, and we've got a 48DS there as well. So you know, a lovely little layout. And is that a muck rat in the siding at the back there, or is that might be a 25-1 or a 25-0? Just see it at the back there. This is definitely a 25. I'm looking at it and thinking 25-052 perhaps.
Jim Gondrup says, Jenny, Zoe, you missed the TARDIS in my video. I did, but I saw it, but only after someone else pointed it out.
Oh,
sorry about that.
So there's a lot going on.
There's
in this
a
video.
lot going on, yeah.
And this is, I do like a layout that has like the operational interest. It's only small, but there's a lot going on, which is great. Let's see. Peter Jones says, Yellow Pages with a little lad calling Townsend's model shop looking for a Hornby signal box for his dad's birthday. The layout was in the loft and the dad says, thank you, Ben. Garthian says, nice small layout, looks really fun.
It really does. Oh, nice angles as well.
That Ruston 48DS is really nice actually. It's one of the Hornby models. AD Pullen says, night all, keep safe. Look, you take care as well. It's been great having your company as well.
And of course, everyone remember, we are going an extra hour because we had a load of videos that we couldn't get to last week.
We've got the numbers have dropped off a little bit. We've got 394 people in, but don't forget to tickle that like button if you haven't already done so.
I've got to answer this. So Patrick Furlong says, Zoe, I'd love to give you cash to support your retro purchases, but sadly can't afford it. Never feel like you
obliged
have to. Never.
Same for anybody else. It's like, you know, I know some channels kind of all like gimme, gimme, gimme. We don't do that. We're always very grateful when people do donate, but never ever feel obliged to, because I know how difficult financial pressures can be on a lot of people, especially during these times that we face ourselves in.
Exactly, and it's the same with my channel. I make videos because I love to make videos. and I want to make people happy with a bit of entertainment. I don't do it so that people will pay me for it. So never feel like you have to. Never feel like you're obliged. And if anyone is making you feel like that, don't support them. It's as simple as that. Right. There's so much going on with this video. There's bits everywhere.
Collet, that collet coaches that's going around. They're like the ones that are going around behind the
What's
Dapol
that
mogul.
little train there?
It's the 48DS, the Ruston 48DS.
Tiny.
Incidentally, I
my
filmed
goodness,
a bit,
it's
and
tiny.
it did make it into Biggest Little Railway, albeit very briefly, of me going, oh look, it's the Ruston 48DS, and that was up on the old line up to Fort Augustus, which we laid the rail line through. I did a full interview next to that locomotive, and they cut all apart from the first bit of me going, oh look, it's a Ruston 48DS. Garthian says, I just like making people speechless. Makes me smile. You did, actually. Yeah, do you remember that?
Oh my goodness, yes.
He went, you need a Garrett. Here's 200 quid. And it's like...
It's the only time I've ever seen you speechless.
I know, and I'm forever really eternally grateful for
Look
that.
how big this layout is.
There's a lot going on. An awful lot going on. That Ruston DS is actually a pretty...
Is that the water tower? Like you got?
No, that's the I think that's the kit version. That's an old kit.
Fair enough.
The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout asks, anyone know anywhere I could pick up a 47.7 in N-gauge? Check out Hereford Model Centre. They might have one knocking about. But right, are we going to move on to the next video?
Wow, that's actually smaller than I expected it to be.
I know. I
given the
said at the start, it is a really small layout that they've crammed a lot in, and I like it because it's got so much going on. That looks like a Class 24. It is a Class 24. Right, shall we move on to the next video?
Okay, if that's what you want to do, yeah.
Yeah, really enjoyed that. Thank you ever so much for showing us that video. So just going to move on over to the next video. So if you want to cue that up. Tom McKee says 9 PM, need to leave. See you next Monday. Well, you take care. We are going for an extra hour tonight, and then I've got to do it. I've got to film an interview after that, which is for Friday's video.
I'm still going to finish your Wednesday video as well.
Yeah, Wednesday video is going to be the review of the Class 15 that's going around that came from Hereford Model Centre. Right, Ridgeway Park 00 says Water Tower back in stock tomorrow. So this is the Dapol one. I've still got my original one, which was AKA the exploding one. But actually, if you run it on a much lower voltage, it's absolutely fine. So I elected to keep hold of mine because I knew that I'm never going to run it at more than something like 4 volts. And that's the trick with these things.
Yeah.
Stephen Cameron says, does anyone else follow Laurie's Mechanical Marvels? He owns a real Ruston 48. It's on the Mid-Suffolk. Yeah, wow. I've seen some of his videos as well. Yeah, he's starting to muscle in on my territory. He's doing like model railway stuff at the moment during lockdown. And it's like, you know, this is my area. But,
it's allowed.
Yeah.
You don't have him. You're not the president of it.
But I'm always free to do crossovers. So if there's any big channels out there,
sometimes you get very cross.
No. Be nice.
Okay, what
nice
we've got next is a video called "Step Back in Time" from Crossways Point Junction.
Okay, right, we're up and running.
We're gonna step
again.
back in time.
Do.
Now, is it just me, or does this have a very black and white look to it?
It does actually. Is that actually been turned?
I believe this is a black and white filter.
Right. I was just looking at it and thinking the ballast is very grey.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be an amazing achievement, though, if you did an entire layout in black and white?
I did contemplate that for one of the Great Model Railway Challenge builds. When we were at the planning stage, we briefly thought about what it would take to make an entire layout as if it was black and white. I think because our initial theme was something like Brief Encounter, and we decided no, no. I don't like them.
That is a really nice layout.
I do like the Pullmans, and incidentally, Hereford Model Centre. I make no money whatsoever. So in case anyone's going, oh, you're only doing it because you make money, I don't make a penny. It's just simply a case of credit where credit's due. They've got some great bargains on there, and it's a case of letting people know that they're there. They even had one of the six wheel bogeyed Pullmans, the 12-wheel Pullmans. I must actually dig mine out, because there's a part of me thinking if they're selling one at £33, which I don't have, I probably should pick it up. So they're probably all sold by now.
I love these angles.
Yeah, the low down angles really work well.
It gives a proper sense of height of the locomotive.
Yeah, definitely. Those Pullmans look a lot like the Class 403 Pullmans. I'm probably wrong. It must be the black and white filter. But the 9F on the front there is it's a bit like we've got the 9F going around here as well. It's just lovely to see big trains swooshing around. Is this the layout that's got the big viaduct as well that I really like? I can't remember if this is...
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Oh,
Yes,
there we go.
there it
Yes,
is.
love the viaduct.
I'm loving the black and white
It's
filter.
yeah, it's a laser cut MDF kit, but that is really, really nice.
So well done.
Yeah, it's a great layout for just watching trains go by, and sometimes that's what you need out.
The
on the
7000 is a Britannia, not a 9F, says Garfield.
road. Right, I'm with you.
70,000 apparently.
It's difficult. The black and white filter makes everything look.
That's your excuse. and you
Yeah,
stick
it
with
is. Yes, definitely, definitely. Unclare Ray Batch, David Penner Lane, TMD's next show is in August if all's well, and it's allowed to go ahead. Cannot wait, as it'll be fourth time out with this new extension. Yeah, I am really looking forward to exhibitions starting up again, I have to say. I really do miss them, and I think a lot of people do.
That last one you went to down south, courtesy of Garfield, that was the last one, wasn't
Statfold
it?
Barn. Yeah, we've got a really good running session there. Right, okay. Am I good to change over, or we'll just wait for the spinning beach ball of death?
Give me 1 second. Who sent this? Skipsy
Skipsy
Trains.
Trains.
Feel free to press the button.
Okay, pressing the button. And
This is Skipsy Trains, Southwest Trains. What were you saying about down south, Stopford Barn?
well, it was a miniature narrow gauge railway.
No, you were just so happy to have got out there, weren't you?
Yeah, it was great, and we kind of got out there in that brief respite between two of the lockdowns when things sort of started up and then didn't.
Yeah. So we've got a bit of text to go with this one. Skipsy says, the attached video is for the Monday Club. Showcases my model of a Class 707 in Southwest Trains red livery.
Right.
Having spent 2 years working away from home on the construction of Brentford Community Stadium, adjacent to Kew Bridge Station, and travelling to my digs in Bracknell, a journey on a Class 707 was a daily occurrence. As such, I had to have one.
Right.
This
Ooh.
model uses a Bachmann Class 350 as a base model, with the pantograph removed and a replacement 3D printed cab added.
3D printing has really changed the
Hasn't
game.
it just? It was going to be a 5-car set to match the prototype, but was reduced to a 4-car partway through the project to enable it to fit in the bay platform on Skipsy. I wouldn't, looking at that, I would not have said that was 3D printed.
Yeah, it's a really, really good conversion.
Not just that, but the quality that's coming out from 3D printing now is amazing.
Definitely. Absolutely right. And again, another viaduct there. I love that. 4-track viaduct. That's something that I really should have added to this layout, was like a big viaduct over something like a river. And just didn't, it wasn't really appropriate.
You had what you wanted in mind and you went for it.
Yeah,
That's what,
yeah.
Sometimes you have to make compromises.
On the next layout, maybe I'll...
The next one? What? You've already done 12,000.
No, I've just done my 10th big project build. So for project 11, I like the idea of building... I might actually have a talk with PD Models, Paul Tyre at PD Models, about 3D printing all of the little components to make Bella Viaduct in model form.
Hello to Anthony Dickinson, who's one of my regulars.
Oh, it's one of your crowd.
Yeah, it says, hit Zoe with a hammer. Anthony, that's your response to everything.
Yeah, Ben Tullett says, I'm sure I went to the Leamington Spa Model Railway Club show this time last year, just before the COVID got serious. I think it was the only show I went to last year. Yeah, I think the first show to be like full on cancelled was Alexandra Palace and I was all set to go to that with the War of the Worlds layout, and it was touch and go right up until the week before when they had to cancel.
Those do not look 3D printed.
No, it's a really good model.
Yeah.
And I love that viaduct, I have to say. Richard Swiderski, how true, a layout is never finished. Skipsy Train says the 4-track viaduct has come on in leaps and bounds. We now have grass. Excellent. Andy T741 says the next one when you knock through to next door's loft. Well, they're not using the space.
Well, we don't know that. We've never seen, have we?
Hi
We
to
hope they're not,
Stephen
because she's knocking
Dakin
through.
and let's have a look. I thought I saw a comment. I missed it. John Nelson says, I'm heading home from work. It's a pleasure being in the Monday Club. I learn a lot and being entertained at the same time. Oh, you're just massaging my ego. That's great.
Kevin ZZ has
Thank
an
you
interesting,
ever so much for that.
has an interesting point of view here. 3D printing is taking the skill away from the modeler and putting it toward people who know how to design in CAD.
Well, no, because you don't have to make things 3D printed. It's another weapon
It's
in
a
your
tool.
toolbox. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And it does allow you to do things which you couldn't have done before.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop you from doing things the old-fashioned way. And people do get great results doing things by more traditional methods. Jay says my local exhibition just made it in time last year in early March. Unclare Ray Batch says we were meant to be at South Shields show this weekend, but sadly it's being cancelled. Yeah, there's so many things being cancelled. CJ says, do you know if there are any N-gauge smoke units on the market? I want to see if I can put one in an 009 scale engine. Sorry for the double post, I just thought you would know. I'm not well versed in smoke units and availabilities, it has to be said. So I couldn't help you with that, but if anybody else in the chat does know, then do post something in the chat, because that would be interesting to know. Still got 379 people in. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, do consider tickling that like button and sharing us to social media. Let other people know that we are online, and we're doing an extra hour tonight because we only did the 1 hour last week.
Yeah.
But this is we're back to this layout. I do love this layout.
Going to the Dogs sent another email. He says, I sent one through for last week, but you didn't have a chance to play the videos because Jen was getting tired. Please disregard my last clip and use this one instead.
It's the last clip, the one that we
the
played.
one that we showed.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We've got plenty of time. Right, so I'm crossing over.
Normally we don't do this. We don't normally show two.
Yeah, but no. This is. I do love this layout, and particularly that signal box. It's the Art Deco signal box from Bachmann Scenecraft, and it is a lovely model. And I've said this before.
That's what was flashing.
Yeah, it's the tail lamp on that train. What I was going to try and get one of those signal boxes for the actual top of the hump yard here, and it ended up that Pico very, very kindly sent over one of the Highland Railway signal box laser cut wood kits for me to build and review, which ended up going there instead. But if I hadn't have got that, then that is the signal box which I had in mind for going in that spot. But I do love this layout, the ballasting, the detailing as well.
It's a nice layout. It's
It
got
really
a lot of
is.
interest to it.
So we've got 4 main running lines, so you can run as many trains continuously on this, it appears, as you can on Weir Yard. I'd love to see the rest of the layout. I'm assuming it goes all the way around the room, so I'm really interested to see more.
I also like that it's on multiple levels. It's something I keep saying on this show, and I think you'd agree. Because the world isn't flat, it's nice to have bits that are open below and stuff like that. It makes it more,
Definitely,
real.
absolutely, definitely. Carla Brooks says, what size area for a layout do you think is the ultimate size?
The ultimate size?
The thing about model railways is it doesn't matter how much space you have, you will always want a little bit more. So there is no definitive perfect size.
Yeah.
Don Gets Model Railway says there is still a lot of sanding, cutting, filling and painting, even if you start with a 3D print. Yeah, it's not like a Star Trek replicator, at least not yet. Tim Condrup says, I made OO double track viaduct ×2 with my dad, and if you would look at my pictures, look on the Monday Club on Facebook group. Yes, I saw those. Really, really great. And definitely anybody who's not already joined, the Monday Club Facebook page. Do consider going and checking that out.
Yep. And again, like we said with this channel earlier on, like the Monday Club, the page, it's your place. It's share what you like and about the hobby, and it's there for people not to be judged, but to share and get ideas. And,
Kevin ZZ said, just to clarify, I do know how to use CAD as I need it for work, but I model the old-fashioned way from raw material. And that's how I do it as well. I don't really understand computers all that well. I mean,
you've seen a computer.
No. I'm pretty good with Windows XP and before that.
You're really good with Microsoft Word and getting me to fix problems for you.
Microsoft Word 97 for the win. Bought it in 97. Still does the job today.
Yes. You and people like you are the reason that they had to update it.
Garthian says, I hope when we're able to go to exhibitions again that we can all meet up at one of the shows and get to know each other and reminisce about the chats we've had on here.
Yes.
Definitely. And we will organise a few Monday Club meetups. I think it would be a great thing to do, not just at one exhibition, but at multiple exhibitions. Because I think it's a great opportunity for people to get to know who everybody is.
The Monday Club on tour.
Yeah, and I'd like to actually do a live one from some of these exhibitions.
Oh my goodness, just imagine the Radio 1 tour bus on its the Monday Club tour.
Yeah, something like that. These keep falling off, they're not...
We should... Oh, Jen, we have to buy an old bus and convert the inside to a model railway layout and then just tour.
No. Right, should we move on to the next... Yeah. Pay attention.
Come on, yeah, we'll move
on to...
That's a really nice running...
I do love that
It's a beautiful
model.
layout.
So, right, Lee Holden, the last model railway show I did was March 2020, Keighley MRC at the college. Stephen Cameron says the last show I got was Model Rail Scotland. The club were exhibiting an O-gauge layout, Glebe Street. Ryan G says, I only managed 2 shows last year, Model Rail Scotland and then Preston. Actually, this is interesting. Unclare Ray Batch says, check the American model market as they have smoke machines in N-gauge I've seen. Interesting. Yeah. Scottish Railway Maniac says, hello, how's it going? It's going grand, thank you very much. I hope you are well as well. The new IKB 4472 says, wish that Hellion had more Class 28s. Do look around. I think it may even be Hattons. We're certainly stocking them for a while. But check out, obviously not been in the shop for a very long time, but I know that Tim at Arcadia Models in Shaw, give him a ring and ask him. Certainly a year ago he had Hellion Class 28 in the cabinet. He may still have some there. So I would suggest give him a call. That's Tim at Arcadia Models in Shaw. Always great. There's a lot of new old stock there as well. Not all of it, I think, is listed on the website. I could be wrong on that, but certainly that's another shop. Maybe I should do something in conjunction with Tim. Have a look at what new old stock he's got.
Okay, now for the next video, we have an interesting one. Tarpaulin covers for wagons from North End Sidings, also now known as Iron Horse Heathen.
Okay.
So let's have a look at this.
Keith Pointer says, good night all, be safe from Cannock Railway Club. Well look, take care, thank you ever so much for joining us for this extended Monday Club, and hopefully see you next week.
Whoa, look at that weathering.
That is great weathering actually. That's a very interesting rake of, that's POAs, the Tiger POAs from Bachmann. It was an oldie-worldy coal truck at the front, and then we've got the tarpaulins there over. Are they PGAs? They actually work quite well.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much, Simon Trains.
Say what? Have I missed something?
He's been very generous.
Simon Trains Model Railway Showcase has very generously donated £3 on the Super Chat and says, it's been a great stream, not going yet. Well, thank you ever so much. That does mean an awful lot to us, and it does help us to keep making the videos that you want to see. So thank you so, so much.
You know what, Cameron S., that is a great idea. There should be a virtual model railway exhibition where there is a website with a picture of the layouts. When you click on those pictures, it goes to a live webcam, and you should also be able to see the traders' deals. That would be amazing. I don't know if anyone's got the tech to do that, but it would be great.
I know that, I think it was BRM did a virtual model rail exhibition, or Hornby magazine may have done one as well, and they do work really, really well. But they do take they do take a lot of organising.
Oh yes.
But maybe it's something that we should look to do. Maybe get a few traders involved, and have links to traders, and maybe pre-record little snippets that we can put in. But it is a lot of work.
A massive amount of work. This is a wonderful round.
Oh, I love your post shunter. That really works well. I like that.
That detail.
It's nice.
It is so well done.
Yeah. I liked how you'd posed the little shunter. Iron Horse Heathen says North End Sidings.
That's what it used to be.
Thanks for the link, Zoe. Stephen Cameron says the thing about 3D printing is there's still a lot of sanding and filing to do. If you watch Kathy Millett's video, the work she puts in is phenomenal.
No one's ever said that it's a simple thing.
Yeah.
We all know.
The technology's not quite there. Oh, now I do like that. Is that an A1 or an A2?
Got that rounded triangle on the back of the boiler.
It sort of looks a bit like Tornado. Matty Matman says I use vape oil in my Triumph smokers. That's actually an interesting idea because then you don't get the residue. So yeah, that's actually a good idea. And Iron Horse Heathen confirms yes, you do need to pose him. That's the shunter.
Whoa! Look at that.
Those tarpaulins work really, really well. Actually,
they really do. Just so much
Jerry
detail
BVR, big hello to you.
We've seen this layout before.
We have, yes.
Because I recognise the realism on it.
Iron Horse Heathen confirms yes, it is the Tornado, but I took the smoke deflectors off. It actually looks really good without the smoke deflectors, I have to say.
That is an amazing layout. Right.
Apparently, Unclare Ray Batch says Newton Aycliffe Rotary Club are planning a virtual show in April. So if you give us some more details of that, post them in the comments. And, that's certainly when we can help to try and publicise that.
Especially if you remind us closer to the time when we remember then.
Shani Paxton says, night all. Good night to you. It's been great having your company, and look forward to hopefully seeing you again next week. Look, you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling, and I'll see you next time.
Let's jump on.
Are we going
That is an excellent layout. I really do enjoy it.
Thank you very much. Southern Train Girl says, Pete, not feeling very chatty tonight. So, sorry. Don't worry. It's people should never feel obliged to chat. A lot of people actually just like to have this on in the background. Yeah. I know Richard Watson at Hornby magazine did tell me. He says he quite often has this on in the background whilst he's doing something else. So, this is Alan Reynolds, PBA J-Cloth. Alan Reynolds.
Yes.
So this is this is where the J-Cloth tip all began. This gentleman told me about this, and I've used it ever since. So we're ready.
Yep.
So we're getting the. This is actually how you do that PVA J-Cloth method. And the J-Cloth, you just buy cheap packs of these.
Oh yeah,
really, really good. And you can see they're just building up the layers, and it does set pretty strong.
So we've got a bit of text to go with this. The email's Kent Artists Group, and it's PVA J-Cloth Alan sending a message. His YouTube channel is Buckland Junction Loft Model Railway, which is what we're looking at here.
Right.
And this is it's a channel that's all about making a railway embankment and cliffs from cardboard using J-Cloth and PVA. And you can see what he's doing there.
I like those lattice girder bits there that are going into the bridge. They do look nice. There's some great stuff going on here, I have to say. And I shamelessly used the PVA and J-Cloth method on Weir Yard, and it works really well. Actually, I used some of that on Mineth Tatis as well. But it's really coming together nicely. You can see there it's building up into something really special.
Yeah.
And like you say, you've got the multiple levels. You've got the scenery doing its thing, but then the railway on 2 levels. Then you've got the lower road,
which are on the lowest level.
Exactly. And it makes it feel that the railway is going through the scenery, not
rather
the
than
scenery.
Being stuck on top of it.
Yeah, rather than the scenery kind of being around the railway. Right.
That's it. The world is not flat, and these things do.
Yeah. Unclare Ray Batch says, I find it hard to keep up with the chats. So do I, to be honest.
You do?
Yeah, they do come in pretty quick. The obligatory Ferodo brake pad advertisements. They used to be on all the bridges, didn't they? Cameron S says, in my new layout, I'm making sure that the locos I buy are capable of having a smoke generator into maximised realism. And I've missed the comment. Oh, there we are. CJ says, oh, I found an N-scale smoke unit for only £25 on the Gauge Master website and ordered one. Hey! Actually, that's another website. I must go and have a troll through the Gauge Master website and see what new old stock they might have. I've been making a habit of just checking out random websites for retailers. I like that tunnel mouth as well. That works really well.
The whole thing is just so well done. And it shows what happens when you take the time to make it all yourself.
Yeah, there's definitely
no one else has got this.
Yeah,
no one else can have this.
It is nice. Really enjoying
handmade.
this. The Growler Blackwood Engage layout says, time to drop off and make my wife a cuppa. Take care, everyone. Well, you take care as well. It's been great having your company, and hopefully see you again next week.
Okay. Okay, Toby Johnson sent a message. Please could you share this on Monday Club, but it's attached, so I'm sorry we can't.
We cannot show
we showed exactly what happened earlier on.
It has to be just send the URL linking to something like a YouTube video, and we'll be able to play that. We cannot do anything with attachments. So if you attach the video as an attachment to the email, we cannot do anything with it. I'm really sorry, but there is just nothing we can do with it.
Yeah, we have a massive internet connection, and even with that, it stalled the live stream.
It craps out the computer. I'm really sorry, but it does.
Yeah, we'd love to do something.
Garthian says, I really must try to start my layout this year, thinking of doing Blenai Festiniog.
You like the nice Festiniog?
Yeah, Blenai Festiniog, which is basically where the Festiniog Railway meets the main line, which then goes through and on towards Transwyneth for the nuclear trains. Really picturesque. Thinking of doing Blenai Festiniog as if the Barrow line hadn't closed, but the Conway line had still joined to it. Also get the Festiniog Railway there. Yeah, and with the Pico, England's and Double Fairleys as well promised some point this year, then that could be a very special layout. So looking forward to it. Samuel Headington says, no Jenny Kirk, I am leaving Hove and I am building a model railway layout, DCC in the garden, summer house shed. Excellent. Look forward to seeing that. So do share some video with us. Simon Train's Model Railway Showcase. You can buy J-cloth from Asda for £2 and PVA glue for £4. Yeah, it's a really great cheap method. It takes a bit longer to dry, but you save a fortune over getting plaster bandage cloth.
Okay, we've got another video now. If we jump back in, Jen.
Right.
This one has a bit of context with it. It's called All in a Day's Work from T-Code 360. And it says, so this was something I just did for fun. I pulled out my phone and started recording, which sometimes is the best way to do it.
Definitely.
Just get in there and do it.
And the Hornby J15, very underrated model. And I think it's, again, Hereford Model Centre. I did see some of them for about £69, which is an absolute steal for an 060 tender locomotive.
So what he says is, he didn't say that. He says, my layout's nowhere near finished, but I do plan on working on it in major ways during the summer.
But yeah, Pete Clark...
Never feel like you have to explain yourself.
No. Pete Clark, we talk about Monday Club as if it's a club with membership, but you don't. There's no such thing as membership, as it were. It's like a virtual thing.
If you're here, you remember.
If you're here, you remember. You don't have to join anything, and there's no subs or anything like that.
The idea was that it's an online model railway club. If you're here, you're part of it.
Definitely.
That's how it is.
Charlie McGowan, Alan's layout is terrific and he is doing a great job. Always look forward late at night to seeing his posts. Johan Swanipol, I hope I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, says, hello from South Africa. I need to set a reminder for this cool show.
Oh,
thank you so much.
you.
You're going to make my ego so big I won't be able to get out of the room, but thank you ever so much. And you're always welcome here. We start at 7 p.m. UK time, which at the moment we're in GMT, but occasionally we go to British Summer Time, which is GMT +1. So that's where you can find us live.
Crossways Point Junction says, I will do a simple video for your members on how to send a video to yourselves. Thank you. That might actually be useful.
J. Paul Anderson says, Jenny, did you see Sam's review of the Hornby Thompson Pacific? I did not, no, I have to say. Within Model Railway says, I think Sam's review was a little unfair. I think he does tend to be a little bit harsh on a lot of things.
Martin Sierra. PBA? I thought you said PB&J.
Simon Trains Model Railway Showcase says, is that how you say those Welsh names? Think been saying Blenai Festiniog wrong all these years. Yeah, it's Blenai Festiniog, not Bleanau Festiniog. It's just the peculiar quirks of Welsh pronunciation. Flymo Chairman 1, thank you very much for posting the link to the Facebook group. What do you want?
Here's a question. Is it peculiar ways of speaking with Welsh, or is it peculiar ways of hearing it with English?
Second, probably. Carla Brooks says, what is the email address to send links to, please? It is
Zoe@zoerobinson.com.
Definitely. Peter Leyland loves the J15s. They are a remarkably good value at the moment as well, so do search them out. Right.
We have
Lynn says, I'm looking to steampunk an old train. I'm working in N-gauge. Definitely just find like old Airfix kits, things like that, and you're looking for bits just for the interest of what they look like, not what they actually are meant to represent in the model. Right, so we're just going to move on over to the main camera. Do we have many more videos?
We have two, but one of them, Toby Johnson says, can you play it with subtitles?
We probably can.
It depends on how much of the video is cropped off by your Jennycam.
You may find that you don't actually get to read all the subtitles.
Yes, and that's the issue. So we can try it.
Cameron S is correcting me. He says, Jenny, it's actually pronounced Blenau Festiniog.
That sounds right, because I did wonder where you got the Blenai from.
Yeah, probably my mother. Daniel, it depends, you see.
Of course, dialects.
South Wales. We're from South Wales, not North Wales.
Yes, they're different dialects.
Daniel's OO Model Railways. My dad used to be the manager that got the nuclear flasks from Transfinith to Sellafield. J. Paul Anderson says the Thompson Pacific seems to be a rather bad loco. The livery is way off, wrong green, no printing on the dials. Very strange for a new production loco. Interesting. I might speak to have a chat with Hornby. Right, are you going to hit play?
Yep. So here we have the Cupper and District Model Railway Club with Eden Road TMD.
So we've got plenty of Class 66s and what looked like, I'm guessing, a Class 121. Oh, yes, I've got that model. I love that livery.
You do?
Yeah, still available at Rails, I believe, for the knockdown price of, I think it was about £79. Get them whilst you can, because they will not come back.
Oh my goodness,
at that
the
price.
colours.
That is actually quite an eye-catching livery on that Freightliner one. And that 66 in the BR large logo, if I was going to get a 66, I guess that it would probably be that livery. We've then got the DRS. Is that a 47 or a 57? Hard to tell from this distance. I'm going to say 47. 66065 in EWS there.
I like the slightly muted colours on the background to make it feel like it's further away. That really does work out quite nicely.
Right. Samuel Headington says, could we see a locomotive LMS Princess Elizabeth or Royal Scot? Thank you very much, Jenny. Cook says, cook for you all later. Not at the moment, but maybe next week.
You do have a photo of a Princess Elizabeth.
Yeah, I do, but no, I've got a Princess class, Princess Royal. I will put it on for next week, but at the moment, because...
Oh, thank you so much, Will the Train Spotter. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Will the Train Spotter has very, very kindly donated £1 through the Super Chat. Thank you ever so much for that.
Ben Davis says, Game Hammer, have you seen my chat? No, I wasn't looking at the chat. What's happened?
Ben Davis asks, do you think Bachmann will release more Thomas and Friends this year? Yeah, I think they will slowly get the full range out. There's a lot more still to come. Right, J. Paul Anderson says, I've read that one out. New Western Grove says, Jenny, I am really excited. I can either get an MG Midget or a Morris Minor as my first car, as they both have cheap insurance. Word of warning, an old car from the, basically from the 1970s, that is going to be hard on maintenance.
Yeah, you were hard on maintenance in the 80s when my dad had one.
They were hard on maintenance when they were brand new, so be prepared to have to do a lot of tinkering. They will also rust like nobody's business, especially in winter when they put salt on the roads. Be warned, it is not all plain sailing with a classic car.
But at the same time, if you're in the
if
you're in the market for a classic car,
and if you know what you're doing with cars, then that would be a really great thing.
Yeah, this layout looks great, especially with those backgrounds. The slight blue tint to them, because of course the further away something is, the bluer it looks. It just looks great.
Right, going to the dogs. Comments: track work nicely rusted. It does actually really add to a layout to have the track weathered like that. Peter Leyland says, great backdrop on that layout, quite
really
convincing.
Is.
Jude Hockenhole says, hi, liking the Class 66. Skipsy Train says, Jenny, Zoe, I have just emailed a few images of my viaduct as it looks today. If you're interested, yeah, they're grand.
Okay.
Cameron S says, I would definitely get a Dapol 121 in BR blue or BR green, but the Bachmann 3MT and the Hellion 33 with headlight are top of my list at the moment. It is one of the things that I have to say, it's the same problem that I get, that there's so much good stuff out there and not enough money to buy it all. I have just spent a fortune on a Hornby T9 Greyhound in the London and South Western Railway livery. I do sympathise that sometimes you've got to kind of economise and say, well, I can afford that, but I've got to say no to that even though I really want it. Is it not
Roof Railways, I don't see an option to put subtitles on. Playback speed and quality, that's all I've got. No subtitle option.
It's not letting us put subtitles on. So we can post a link in. What we'll do is...
That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. I will post a link.
We'll post a link in the chat, but we can't play it with subtitles. It's just not giving us the option. Otherwise, it's going to be a video of somebody talking, but you can't hear what they're saying. So we'll post a link to that. If people want to check out Roof Railways' video, then do check that out. But unfortunately, it's just not giving us an option to have subtitles on there.
Which is weird.
Yeah. J. Paul Anderson says, depends on what car. Volvo, Amazon, Indestructible. Well, it's a Volvo, isn't it? Citroen 2CV, VW Beetle, they will go forever, but they will rust from underneath you. Just be aware of that. Mike and Sue Pudham Junction, just let the dogs out and it's snowing well out there now.
Who let the dogs
Taken
out?
A while to get to us, but it's definitely arrived now. Want to build a snowman? Well, we've got no windows up here, so for all we know, it's like we've got like 6 feet of snow out there.
For all we know, the entire world's just disappeared.
Wow. Hello, Zach Farmworth. Gosh, you're up late.
What on earth are you doing up at this time of night, young man?
So it's hi, Auntie Jenny and Zoe. Big hello to you, Zach. How are you doing? And don't forget to tickle that like button if you've not already done so. And do consider sharing us on social media and letting people know that the Monday Club is open for business and all are welcome.
I think I've found the... Right. Okay.
Skylar's Hummingbird says cheers from the US. Big hello to you. Aidan L says, oh, having a few issues with their connection. Creeping Jane says, I bought my teenage fantasy, a Triumph Stag with a proper V8. Oh, you got the Stag. The only thing I will say about a Triumph Stag is whatever you do, watch that temperature gauge very, very carefully, because if you overheat a Triumph Stag engine, the only way to salvage it is with a full nut and bolt rebuild. because if you overheat it, it warps the head. And the water pump on the Rover V8 that's in the Triumph Stag is in a very weird position, which makes it prone to overheating, especially if you're grinding in traffic. So a word of warning on that. I know it's probably one of the big things with Triumph Stag owners. And I know this because I stopped to help about 20 years ago. I stopped to help somebody on the A404 on the grind up the hill towards the roundabout, the old roundabout on the M40 in heavy traffic, and he was in a Triumph Stag convertible, middle of summer, really, really hot, and he overheated it. And the look on his face, because he knew that he'd warped the head in doing so, and that's how I know.
Well, Ben Tullett's got some good advice for you. Buy a Tesla. They'll break from the start.
They're delivered broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for it to break. Elon Musk's got you covered because he broke it before you got it.
He still sounds like a Bond villain to me.
Elon Musk. It sounds like some kind of perfume or room deodorizer.
Elon Musk. New at Asda.
Yeah. You from Dolce, Elon Musk.
Although
the smell of success.
I'll give him one thing. He's one of those few people who is still willing to admit something doesn't work. He puts out live videos of all of his massive rockets failing.
Yeah,
because sometimes to succeed, you've got to fail.
You learn more from a failure than you do from a success.
Yes, it's like what Terry Pratchett said. I can't give advice on how to get a successful book deal because I only did it once.
Yeah, he knows one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Skylar's Hummingbird says, we got a blizzard here last week that crippled us. Yeah, a lot of places do get some pretty nasty weather. One of the great things about the UK is I know we lament the weather, but it's a mild climate. So we don't get extremes of one way or the other. You know, we get like a fairly winter and we get a fairly summer. But we don't get like extreme super duper heat and we don't get extreme super duper cold. Also means we don't really tend to get a huge amount of snow. We just get a nice little dusting. Right, are we ready for the next video?
Yes, we have one from Lee Holden, who I believe might be a new submitter to the channel.
Oh, right.
This
brilliant.
Is a Hornby GNR coaches.
Yes, behind the Ivor Atlantic. They do look nice. I love these new Hornby 4-wheel and 6-wheel coaches. Oh, and we've got a silver streak there flashing by.
Mark Holt has a very optimistic view of Elon Musk's rockets. He says the rockets only fail in the last few seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're the important
They work
seconds.
just fine right up until the point where they explode and crash and burn. That is a lovely locomotive. I've got one of those in the Great Northern Railway livery from the National Railway Museum. It is a superb locomotive. And I must admit, I am very tempted to buy a full rake of the Great Northern Railway coaches to go with it. But again, it's like how much money have you got?
These are nice and bright. I like the colours. This is actually a very warm camera for colours.
It does work, actually, yeah.
Look at the complexity on that railway.
Yeah. Right. Dennis Christiansen says, greetings from Coscob, Connecticut. Hello to you. Great to have you in. And everybody's always welcome to the Monday Club. It's always fun to meet new people from all around the world.
Jude Hockenhall has it's just a shunt to the left.
Yeah.
And then a shunt to the right. With your hands on the brakes.
Yeah. Oh, interesting here. Scottish Railway Maniac says, I have an HO scale DeLorean. Pretty close to RO scale. You cannot tell the difference. Where did you get that from? Because we kind of really know I want one.
Yes, so I want to go with my Turtles party wagon.
Yeah. Chad Martin says, Jenny, love your new ears. Stay classy, young lady. Always staying classy.
When?
Always classy.
When?
Until I stay.
Is this top of the classy or bottom of the classy?
No, top of the classy. I am like super classy until I try and get into a very low sports car. And then, as all women will tell you, there is no sexy way of getting into an MGB wearing a short skirt.
In or out?
Yeah. Right. Stephen Cameron says, if Cameron S has had to change his YouTube title so that people don't get confused with me, then I'm truly sorry. Oh, Within model railway, we only need an inch of snow in the UK for everything to grind to a halt. Yeah, all the wallies come out.
This is a cold country. Why do we have so many
Yeah,
problems?
it's not difficult. Right, the thing is, right, if you want a tip for how to drive safely in the snow, driving in the snow and on ice safely, it's exactly the same techniques that you would use if you're trying to drive for maximum fuel economy. Gentle, lots of like planning ahead. That's how you drive safely in snow and ice. Imagine that you're trying to save every last drop of petrol, and that is how you're supposed to drive in snow and ice. Right, what do you want?
Today's example of good driving practice is brought to you by the Jenny University.
Woo-hoo. Johan Swanepoel, I'm probably massacring your name pronunciation there. Snow sounds great. It's a whopping real feel 30 degrees C here at nearly midnight.
Wow.
Oh gosh. See, I like warmth. I must admit, warmth is good, but at midnight that is a bit.
Warm is good. Hot isn't.
And actually, yeah, we mentioned this way back at the beginning of the stream. Houston WHAP coming out this spring is Trotter's Independent Traders Wagon. Only Fools and Horses Appreciation Society have teamed up with Hornby. Looking forward to it. Oh yes, Cush Tea Dell. Yeah, hurry up, you saucy git rodders. Get Grandad out the van.
Chad Norton says, drive with a brain. Oh. Yes, that seems to be an optional extra for some people.
Phil Metcalf, the Stag is a V8 based on dolomite top ends. Oh, is that the one where it's basically two dolomite blocks welded together or something? I know that a Triumph Stag V8 is prone to overheating, and if it does overheat, it will warp the head. No ifs, no buts, it will warp the head.
Right, do you want to tap and see button?
Right, okay, press play. According to Chad Martin, 5 p.m. in Indiana, USA. Right. Skylar's Hummingbird says, I usually model American Olco locomotives, but I love the British Railway standard locomotives. And actually, if you want to send us a link to your video, don't send an attachment, but send a link to your video. We'd love to have some overseas layout. Well, overseas for us, but domestic for yourself. Love to see some American layouts shared with us.
From anywhere in the world, we're always happy. That is an amazing looking layout.
Those are the Dapol 68s.
Yeah, but look at the depth and the different stuff. It's like a load going on. There's a car raced in the garage at the back and things like that.
Yeah.
It's all kinds.
A lot of and look at the disused line on the right.
Loving it.
Yeah.
This is really. It's got a lot of life to it.
You can see why people are raving about the Dapol Class 68s. They really are nice.
It looks very, very nice, yeah.
Yeah, that is really, really good. But we still got a Class 15 going around. I haven't seen it for a while.
Someone's asking if you have an Echo, and Farmer Chairman 1 says, no, that's Zoe in the cupboard.
Right, Gary Lewis says, hi Jenny, I made a New Year's resolution to not buy any more locos. Lasted a few weeks, then saw my local shop Model Railways Direct had just one Dapol mogul in stock in GWR. I hit the buy button. Yeah, that's a silly New Year's resolution. How were you expecting to keep that?
Yeah, that's like saying, this year I'm not going to breathe. It's just not going to happen. Josh Trainroom says the TPA 68 is amazing in that livery. It looks pretty good. Yeah,
Wamgop says, Jenny, did you know 80% of stags are still on the road? They're probably 80% of stags are in a garage somewhere, but
still on the road. Is that because someone's parked them?
I don't think there was many of them made. Right.
This is a lovely layout. I just love the depth and the realism and just. It looks like it's a living place. It's really nice.
Oh, interesting. J. Paul Anderson says, fun story. My father was driving down to Monaco with some friends back in the 70s in his 63 Lincoln Continental. At one petrol station, they exchanged a few words with Peter Ustinov in his Stag. I've met Peter Ustinov.
He was our...
He was the Chancellor of the university at the time.
Yes.
And he actually gave me my degree, you know, the little,
me too.
the thing, and I shake his hands. And I actually said to him, on the stage, when I went up to him, shook his hand, and I said, "You were the best, Poirot." And that made us, you could see the smile on his face, like, yeah. Even though actually, in truth, I prefer David. Everybody likes David Suchet, but, you know, being nice, I thought it made his day. It was like, oh, thank you.
Is he the guy who said when he had to go into war, he joined the tank corps? Because if he had to go to war, he wanted to go to war sitting down.
No, that was what was his name? Yeah, Spike Milligan.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
If I have to go to war, I want to do it sitting down.
I'm well
Right,
behind on the
Shall
comments.
we move on, because we have one more set
Okay.
of 4 tours this time. So that was a lovely layout. Thank you very much from March West Junction. But our final thing for tonight, Jan, is not a video. It's a set of photos
Okay.
from Tim Condrup, and it's about a viaduct. So here we go. Have a look at that. You press the button.
Rightio. So there we go. And Jerry BVR says 80% stag still on the road. Well, a bit here and a bit there.
That was what I was wanting to say.
Yeah, all the bits that fell off them as they rusted.
So
this is the viaduct, and yeah, it's always nice to see how these things are constructed. And oh, that is nice.
Yeah, it's just like it slots together. That's really nice.
Really neat job there. Really neat.
Yeah,
I'm impressed. And there we are with the full roadbed on,
which
really,
of course sits it all together.
Yeah. Really nice there with the parapets and everything. That is an impressive viaduct.
So
again,
what have we got here? Is this where the road's slotting in?
No, that's where it lies on top. That's the internal structure that gives it the strength.
Right. Interesting.
So you can see there, you see the inner piece.
Yes.
And that's what gives it all of its strength. Really, really nice.
That is very well done. Oh, there's the sides. You've done something similar, haven't you?
That's the parapets that go on the top. It's how you make the Metcalf kits. It was a really nice viaduct.
It's really, really well done.
Yeah, so thank you very much for sharing those with us.
Looks excellent.
We're actually coming up to the end of the third hour. It's amazing how...
well, that's why I said we had to start the videos around 8:30.
You're absolutely right. So we've got through them. There's a bumper crop of videos
yes,
there.
but we had a lot because we didn't get to them last week.
Right. So, I've got cramp coming in my knees. It's like, oh.
This does not surprise me, Jan.
Yeah, I'm just checking. I did some work. It's off camera. But I did some work and I'm just checking. The glue is drying quite nicely back here. But it's not visible on any of the views. So you have no idea what I keep looking at. But the TMD area, I've actually
Is there no way that you can show it?
No, we'll leave it for another video. But the TMD area, I've actually weathered it using real ash from our log burning stove. And we also burn smokeless briquettes. So the ash is a mix of wood ash and smokeless briquette ash, which is basically coke. So what I've done is I sieved the lumps out, because you don't want the big gritty bits that you do get in there, and I've used that to weather the existing ballast, and I'm just waiting for all the glue to dry. So at the moment I have no idea whether it looks really great or really rubbish, but because it's difficult to tell when it's all wet. It's only when it's completely dry. But that's actually coming together quite nicely. I'm really pleased with that. Right, anyway, quick recap of the news of today. So just to go over it again, first up, Weir Yard is going to be in the next edition of Railway Modeller, so don't forget to pick that up, and you'll see the full article about Weir Yard, what it's all about, plus some really excellent photographs that were taken by a professional photographer, not by Muggins here, so it really does show the model off at its absolute best, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. In fact, I've just sent the details to Steve Flint at Railway Modeller to make sure that my complimentary copy of the magazine finds its way to the right place. So really looking forward to that. On top of that as well, fire at Rails. It wasn't actually at Rails, it was next door to Rails. Now a lot of people have been speculating about all like damage and stuff. The official news, I did speak to John Barber and Oliver Davies briefly on Sunday via text message, and what they said is there's only minor damage at the shop. It's some minor water damage where basically water has seeped in just at one of the ceilings. It's not like flooded or anything like that, so very, very minor. Smoke's obviously got in, so there's probably like a funny smell that'll take a few days to clear. And the fire brigade had to force open the shutter to gain entry just to make sure, A, that there was nobody in there, and B, that the fire hadn't jumped the fire break. It hadn't. So Rails is absolutely fine. Nobody's harmed at Rails. The fire started in the takeaway 2 doors down and spread through the flats that are above the shops next door. Sadly, there's the resident of those flats has had to be taken to hospital via air ambulance. Don't know any further details about
Hope
that.
they're all right.
But we do hope that they're all right. It's because obviously, worst situation. It's not even your house that's the source of the fire.
Yeah.
Completely outside your control. But Rails is back open. Business as normal. There's no effects there. Moving on to the big announcements now. First up, Accurascale have shared some of the livery samples, images of those, of the Class 55. Really looking forward to them. And actually, I hadn't realised they were doing the Porterbrook purple one, but that looks really, really nice. We've also seen the BR blue livery samples for the Deltic. Really looks great. Now, they also announced their all-new model of... I'm going to be like a Bond villain now. Oh, so hello, Mr. Bond. So nice to see you and my easily escaped death situation. No, they announced the manor. Not only did they announce the manor, but they announced it with full EP, and it's due out in the autumn of this year. So it's looking to be a really great model at a really quite respectable price point. A lot of trimmings there in terms of what the model comes with. So it's going to be a great model. Dapol, of course, had already announced that they were doing a model. Accurascale were working on theirs before Dapol announced theirs. So, they were already working on it before they knew anybody else was doing it. Dapol hadn't shared any images of their model, so it was actually assumed that they hadn't gone to tooling stage. Now, Dapol have surprised a lot of people today in that they made an announcement, and the announcement was, here is the pictures and the video of our working EP of the manor. So we're going to have 2 high-spec, really great quality manors coming to the market, both around the same time. Hopefully the market will support both, because I'll tell you now, they will both be absolutely excellent models, and hopefully, as long as they're not duplicating exact livery and running number examples with each other, then I think there is a market for both of them. Certainly at the price point they're both coming out at, and the spec that they're doing it, this is a really exciting model coming from both of them. I'm also, hopefully they'll be done as a pre-record. I'm going to be interviewing Fran Burke from Accurascale, but also Neil from Dapol is the plan, so that next Monday Club, next week, hopefully we'll be able to play out a short video from each of them, talking a little bit, not just about their full product range, but about what their manor is bringing to the market in terms of features, highlights of it, and things like that. So something to look forward to on that. Now,
Absolutely. Now, Going to the Dogs has the best response after you picked up that line. It says that line has been a roaring success this evening.
Right, there's quite a few people who are...
They're all getting tired and heading off.
Yeah, I know. So, look, Andy T741 says, fantastic, wonderful stream. Thank you so much, Jen and Zoe. Your compassion,
absolutely
empathy,
welcome.
wisdom and company is truly priceless. You've kept sanity in a crazy world, and I wish you both and everyone well. Thank you ever so much.
We kept what?
But look, thank you ever so much. It's been great having your company. We are going to round off the stream now, because I am actually getting quite tired and
I'm going
cranky.
to go back to work editing your Wednesday video.
And we have to record the interview, unless you want to do it in the morning. I'm looking at the time. We'll do that interview in the morning, which is the Friday video.
I'd like your video to not feature you getting bleary-eyed and falling asleep.
I'm already getting bleary-eyed, which is why I'm blinking and pulling funny faces. But that is one that we put it out to the Patreons to ask questions. So it's going to be a Jenny Kirk in conversation with Jenny Kirk answering some of the Patreons' questions. So they had 2 weeks. So if you are a Patreon of the channel, you've still got until tomorrow morning, first thing, to get a question in to ask in the video. And that will go out on Friday. But until next time, you guys all take care. This is me, Jenny Kirk, with the Cupboard Monkey.
Hello.
Saying bye for now.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
The train now departing is the 2200 Monday Club Express, stopping at Weir Yard, Bolton Trinity Road, Minith Tatis, and Grove Street Yard. That's the 2200 Monday Club Express. What did you do? Did you just break it?
I think we've got an overheating issue.
Oh no.
I
Look at
think
the turtles on it.
it's not warm, but for some reason my power supply turned off. So.
Well, that spoiled the whole illusion.
And that did rather, because you're all thinking that we've gone. So.
No, we're just sitting here being quiet.
We are. That's what we do. Anyway, look, you guys all take great care of yourself. This is me, Jenny Kirk, and the Cover Monkey saying, take care. See you next time. Bye for now. You may stop the stream.
Bye-bye.
It's the awkward bit at the end.
Bye-bye. I'm going to stick with it for Jenny dancing.
I'm only dancing, waiting for you to finish. Come on, press the button.
Dance. Dance, monkey, dance.
Come on, dance. Yes, you can jump higher than that.